Sid and Friends in the morning.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In the case of Sid, Sid is an entertainer first and foremost, but he's developed such a massive audience that he's been able to become this political power broker, the likes of which I don't think anyone ever anticipated. And because there's not really a morning show, at least on AM, that has his kind of listenership and his kind of depth, he has the kind of influence politically that I don't even know if Bob Grant had.
In a speech to the nation, President Trump alleged China obtained millions of voter rolls and interfered in U.S. elections. Doug Williams is here now with more on those claims. Doug?
Christine, in the nearly 6 years since President Trump's election loss to Joe Biden in 2020, his fixation on the result has not wavered. Not after more than 60 lawsuits alleging various forms of election fraud were proven unsuccessful in court. Not after he mounted a successful political comeback and reclaimed the Oval Office 4 years later in 2024. And his address tonight presented some new allegations tied closely, though, to that familiar theme.
This vital information has for many years been covered up and hidden from you, the American people.
In a presidential address Thursday night, President Trump detailed what he says is newly declassified evidence of meddling by the Chinese government in American elections.
Over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history.
The president then announced a second set of documents that he says shows a cover-up from within the U.S. intelligence community.
Members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information.
President Trump alleges that the Chinese government acquired roughly 220 million U.S. voter files, then alleging a coordinated effort between the Chinese and the U.S. intelligence community during his first term as president, seemingly to ensure he wasn't reelected in 2020. There were no direct allegations, and there remains no substantiated proof that any votes were impacted. Virginia Democratic Senator Mark Warner sits on the Intelligence Committee and was asked if he learned anything in Trump's remarks.
No. This is not some great breakthrough.
I would want to see their work products, see more information.
Election expert Stephen Risher, like us, is eager to see and learn more, but says any further unsubstantiated allegations against the American election system could be damaging.
I liken any allegation about unlawful voting to how a prosecutor would handle a case, which is you don't start talking about it publicly until you've secured a conviction. And in the past, the president and many of his supporters have jumped the gun.
And there is, of course, much to fact check. CBS News is busy doing that. But just broadly to sum things up, President Trump said tonight that, quote, every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately. And later adds, unfortunately, the system we have today falls catastrophically short of that standard.
You guys know not to plug nothing into that, all right?
NYPD cops moving into a large homeless encampment on Manhattan's west side, asking those occupying this city block to remove extension cords and disconnect from power sources. It could be the first step toward dismantling one of the city's most visible setups, including one stretch of tarps and tents spanning 12 city blocks.
If crimes are committed, they have to be addressed. Full stop.
Governor Kathy Hochul on Good Day New York saying she's working behind the scenes with Mayor Zohran Mamdani, who says city rules require the Department of Homeless Services to conduct daily outreach for 7 consecutive days after an initial notice before any action can be taken.
We are dealing with and reckoning with is New Yorkers who have a long history of having been let down by government. And we are looking to convince them, in fact, that now it will be different. And the best way to do so is by proving that in the services we deliver. I think that we've made steps to that end. I think there's always more to be done.
He's working on his approach, and we're supporting, working with him behind the scenes to help.
Residents here on the west side say it's encampments like these right across from the Javits Center that have been growing for what seems like months. And it's not just the encampments, it's the garbage and the alleged open drug use that residents say needs to end. Mayor Mamdani, though, says he's hoping to connect with people and build trust before removing those encampments altogether.
Breaking news to tell you about. We have learned that federal law enforcement is now investigating former New York City Sheriff Anthony Miranda. Search warrants were executed at his Queens home. It's not yet clear what exactly prompted the search. No arrests were made. In 2024, we reported the city's Department of Investigation was looking into Miranda's enforcement of unlicensed smoke shops and the cash seized during those investigations. Mayor Mamdani replaced Miranda as city sheriff in May. A spokesperson for the mayor says the administration is aware of the federal investigation and is committed to transparency and accountability.
It's Argentina. We love it. And it's in the heart. It's in our blood.
Argentinian fans have flooded Marcelo Savelli's restaurant to cheer on their team on the brink of becoming the first team to successfully defend a World Cup title since Brazil in 1962. The second-generation owner of El Gauchito teamed up with the businesses they've shared the same block with for decades to create memories that will last decades into the future.
We closed the streets. We got permits to put a big TV. We got a permit to bring a DJ. So it gets really, really fun here, it's been very good. Argentina has helped all the businesses around this area. This is little Argentina.
From drums to music and food, they're all inspired by Team Argentina, giving them a reason to block off streets and party.
The bakery is Argentinian. They've been there for also 30, 40 years. The corner restaurant, La Esquina Criolla, it's been there as well 40, 50 years, and we've been as well. El Gauchito, we've been here for 40, 50 years.
It's added a buzz to the block Savelli says he can't quite put into words or numbers. So from hats to flags to more hats and shirts, this Argentinian business, they've taken a deep dive into merchandise. And with the big match coming up on Sunday, they expect their business to take an even bigger boost. While FIFA stage is set featuring Argentina and Spain, they've got their stage set too for Sunday. The streets here will close at 2 for a fan fest put on by longtime business owners on the block.
We're going to have big screen TVs against the wall, the bakery. So we're going to have all outside, so standing, anybody. Everyone's welcome, not just for Argentinians, everyone.
So the truth is that there's a little bit of truth to this. And J.D. Vance might not necessarily be lying as much as he might just be mistaken, right? Again, there's plenty to criticize him on. We don't need to lie. So when I see the people attacking him, I go, okay. When I see people, like when I see what he says, I go, okay. And I'm taking in all of this information. And what I'm getting out of it is this, right? This is what I think, right? Regardless if you think Vance is actually anti-Zionist, if he believes what Tucker Carlson believes, if he's a pro-Groyper, whatever, regardless of that, he's going to lose voters a lot if he's the nominee, right? Because he's either just as bad as people are saying, or they, in quotes, the people who are running the anti-Israel campaigns, and right, or the pro-Israel campaigns, the NGOs, the PSYOPs, the people that are foreign adversaries, could be Democrats. It could be like this is oppo. This is opposition. Whoever quote they are, it's working, right? I don't think J.D. Vance, and I've had people say the internet's not real life. It affects real life, man. Look, Trump won because he hit the social media circle. He won because he did the podcast bros. We cannot dismiss the power of social media, how it affects a political campaign. There's also the social media is not real life when it's not real life, like Thomas Massey's hyperinflated fake support through foreign bots and ratioing and X polls and what have you, right? So the truth is, social media is not real life, but it can affect elections.
So Giant Stadium on Sunday, Argentina and Spain. I am shocked, to be honest, for a guy that has spent my life saying bad things about soccer. I will punch you across the face if you call that sport football in America. Even Giuliani or Kilmeade, I will punch you across the face. All I've done is say horrible things about soccer. I have to admit, I've loved this tournament. I'm actually kind of sad it's over. And I've got big rooting interest on Sunday, big. And Madonna, turns out, happens to be the headliner for the intermission show. I guess halftime. I don't know what they call it in soccer, but she's 100 years old, but she's Madonna. I think Shakira is part of that show, too, and that I called him BTK last night at dinner. And Danielle is like, no, you moron. That would be, he was the killer, actually. He was the church guy. Bound, torture, kill. The BTK killer. Maybe they're called BTS. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, it's BTS.
Yep, but I think that guy's going to be there, too.
So it's Madonna, Shakira, BTS. Isn't there somebody else?
Justin Bieber.
Oh, right. That's a big one. Very good. Justin Bieber. Yeah. We're not going to play him today because I'm not a big fan. But I do like his wife because I like his father-in-law, Stephen Baldwin, who's the only normal Baldwin. Alec and Billy are two douchebags. But Madonna going to perform, and Argentina going to play Spain, and they're probably going to lose Argentina, but I'm on record, and I'll talk about it all day today because I've got both Brian Kilmeade and Andrew Giuliani on the show today, the two best soccer guys. And I'll make the point to them, as I will right now, that I am rooting for Argentina in a big way. Why? Because J.D. Vance is rooting against them. Because Argentina loves Israel. They love the Jews. They had that huge Israeli banner draped over the wall during that game against Egypt, pissed off the Egyptian coaches. The Egypt coach spit on the flag, and the Israelis almost kicked his ass. But I know the Argentinian people are pro-Israel anyway, and they've got the greatest player of all time in Messi. Combine that with the fact that Spain hates America, right? They had an opportunity to help us out in the conflict against Iran. They said no. They said no. Spain said no to America. They also are not big fans of Israel. So these days with me, as you can tell when I went sour on the Mets because of Mamdani, these days with me, I do allow politics to bleed into my sports. So because of the America first, Israel love that I've got, I cannot root for Spain, but I can root for Argentina. And that's my reason for rooting for Argentina come Sunday. You like it, Noam?
Yeah, I can't wait for this football match. I mean, I think it'll
Why'd
be...
you just call it football? You want me to punch you across the face? You're just asking for it, you see. You think you're a wise guy. I know you live in Jersey City, surrounded by the Muslims. But I will go in there and kick your ass.
Well, I think if
it's a soccer game.
If Argentina wins this football match, I think it'll put an exclamation point on Lionel Messi's career, and so that would be fun.
Will somebody get me Mike Wallace to do the news on this show the rest of the day?
Yeah, sure. I think is he alive?
I think he's here somewhere.
No, there's two Michael Wallaces. One's dead, and the other one's the anchor at the top of the hour.
Is he here, though, that second one?
Yeah.
Where is he? Oh, he's in that by Margot's office?
Yeah.
So is he listening right now?
Don't know.
Do those guys even realize what a huge star I am?
I would assume they do, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you don't talk to them?
I have not really said more than a couple sentences.
Isn't that weird?
Well, they like a lot of football matches. So
Shut up, Lou. See, here we go. I never should have done it. I do want to get to one thing that Noam did this morning. And Noam does a really fabulous show. I don't need to say it. Noam can't do anything for me. He's got no power here, none. So he really has none. So when I compliment Noam, it's sincere. No, I'm serious. He's got nothing.
No,
nothing.
You're right. I do. I got no juice in this place.
He's got nothing.
Yeah.
But his show from 5 to 6 is great. And I listen every morning. And I listen intently. And I love the way he ended the show today, talking about Stephen McDonald. I did not like, to be honest, that you played Mamdani. I know you have to. I'm not criticizing you here, no. But he's the last person I want to hear ever talk about any cop, anytime, anywhere, because he hates the cops. He's a scumbag. So I don't care what Mamdani said. But, I got very close with Paul DiGiacomo when Paul was running the DEA, Detectives Endowment Association, not drug enforcement. And I'm very, very close, as you guys know now, with Scotty Monroe. He runs a DEA since Paul left. They're both great guys. And Paul would do these Christmas parties and events, and he'd always invite, as Scott does, the widows of slain police officers, men and women. So a couple of years ago, some lady walked up to me. She was very, very sweet. I didn't know her. And she heaped all this praise on me and thanked me and thanked me and thanked me. And to be honest, not to sound like a jerk, I get that all the time. I mean, I got to tell you, Lou, I'm walking to Pico last night, our local Mexican restaurant, with Danielle, Ava, Gabriel, and Ava's friend Emily from England, and a car slows down. I'm thinking to myself, here it is. This is it. They got me. They got me.
Don't stop believing. It's playing.
I swear to God, I was thinking that. The window rolls down and some lady screams, Sid, Sid, Sid. And Emily's standing next to me going, wow, this is strange. She thanked me. Thanked me for being the voice of America. Thanked me for being the voice of the Jews. I get this all the time. So when this lady was doing this at this event, it was very nice. I said, excuse me, I apologize, but what is your name? And she said, my name is Patty McDonald. And I was like, oh, my God. So years and years ago, Noam, and Lou would remember this, when I was working at WFAN, early 2000s, the Rangers used to put on this annual charity game, hockey game, loaded with celebrities, everybody from the Bateman kid to, the Wolf kid from Table for Five, to, who's it, Rick Moranis. Scott Wolf, right, yes. Exactly. Jason Priestley. They all played every year. And it was for Christopher Reeves. And it was the Christopher Reeves annual Foundation celebrity hockey game. And Christopher was there. I think I did it for 3 years. And I would coach against Z100 guys. Paul Cubby Bryant, Elvis Duran, and Christopher and his wife. I think her name was Diana. She died too. Horrendous. She died of lung cancer. She never smoked. They were both there. And this was the highlight of my year, guys. One year they had my assistant coach was a very young star at the time, Jamie Lynn Sigler, when she was at her height playing mezzo-soprano. 1 year, so you know this is way before my political career, my assistant coach, you ready for this? Susan Sarandon. Her boyfriend at the time, Tim Robbins, was a big hockey player. So was Dennis Leary. So I put this game on every year. They would put the game on, the Rangers, and they would have me coach, and it was awesome. I think I did it 3 straight years. And every year, Stephen McDonald would show up, and we had a couple of very nice conversations. So me, like everybody else, you've all got our personal Stephen McDonald stories. I know you've got him, Noam, you've met him, and his wife, and you too, Lou. But it was such an honor to meet him and then to have his wife, years after he passed, this was just a couple of years ago, walk over and heap praise just to find out who she was, put me in tears. So I'm really glad that center. Now, where exactly is that center, Noam?
It's in College Point.
College Point, named it after Stephen?
It is.
Stephen McDonald is one of the greatest New Yorkers ever. So thank you again, Noam, for doing that story. Please, if you ever do it again, don't play Mamdani.
Just so people who don't know that story, because there's a lot of people probably don't. I mean, it's an incredible story. He was shot by a 15-year-old back in 1986, and then he ended up paralyzed in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. And one of the first things he did is he forgave that 15-year-old for shooting him. And then just shared this message of mercy for the rest of his life for him and for others.
Yeah, he was really being serious. Like, you may remember when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, that the first thing his widow Erica Kirk did was say, I forgive Tyler Robinson. Yeah. I'm not sure she still feels that way because she had to leave the courtroom last week with the parents of Charlie when he was sitting there and they were playing those graphic videos. But she did say that. But Stephen McDonald, he actually lived that. He did. He meant it. I could never be that kind.
Well, and that's the thing is when you were with him, and I was numerous times because he used to come on ABC a lot, actually, was you walk away feeling like, I got to be a better person.
Right.
This guy's incredible.
Yeah. It's true. He died how many years ago? Do you know, Noam?
It's been a while, yeah. I don't
been
remember
a couple
exactly.
Years. Well, God rest his soul, and God bless Patty if she's listening right now, and the whole McDonald family. What a true hero, and what a beautiful day in College Point yesterday. All right, so the president set to speak last night. The big controversy was all day long, we had heard that major networks in the United States were not going to play his speech. Now, listen carefully to me, okay? We don't live in Russia. Well, I guess we do here in New York. It's a communist city at this point. Really, it's a communist city at this point. The mayor, stations like New York One, Errol Lewis, communists. But I thought we lived in a democracy, the United States. And I have to tell you that I don't care if you can't stand everything President Trump says. If you're sick and tired of hearing my friend, the president, complain about 2020, if you're sick and tired of hearing President Trump tell us time and time again how hot the country is because you're miserable in your job, and you may be right, I don't care. It doesn't matter. He's the president of the United States. You put his ass on every network, and you leave the choice to the American people whether to watch or not. So when you get Democrats that say, oh, no, the media's not biased, no way, no way, and then you've got two networks that are liberal networks, keep the president off the air, there is no excuse for that. Don't watch. You know, you get back at the president, he's always talking about, Sid, you're great, you got great ratings. If nobody watches and the ratings suck, then you can come back and say, I got to be honest, nobody watched. But just to keep him off the air because you don't like what he's about to say, when did this country become Russia? The only major network that carried it, CBS, not exactly a profile of courage either. They dropped out early, but at least they started it, right? At least they had some of President Trump. So CBS, with Barry Weiss, who I happen to like, they win the war. They win the network war. Again, not exactly a profile of courage. They didn't carry the whole thing. But for ABC, we know who they are, George Stephanopoulos. And NBC, we know who they are, Meet the Press. For them not to carry any of the president's speech is about as un-American as it gets. If you argue that, you're an effing idiot. I don't care if you hate him. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. But you got to put the president on television. Any argument with that, Noam?
Well, was Matlock on last night? Because
that's a good point. I don't know. Yeah, you're right about that.
No, I agree. I don't know how you could have any excuse. Yeah, fine. You don't like the topic, but that's not for your decision to make.
Yeah, you don't watch it. Then you don't watch it. But you don't not put the president. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. Now, when the president did come on, I'm not exactly sure, and I love him, and I'm going to see him tomorrow. I'll be in Bedminster, New Jersey. I'll be at the Summer White House. And I'll see my friend, and I think he's mad at me. Mark Levin says he's not, but he has not contacted me or returned any of my texts in about 6 weeks. I don't know. He's busy. But I did watch, and I'm not exactly sure what I learned last night. I'm sure the Chinese did exactly what President Trump said. I'm sure that the deep state and the CIA did exactly what President Trump said. The Chinese acquiring over 200 million American profiles, the CIA aware of it, keeping it a secret. I believe President Trump with all of that. But what President Trump did not deliver last night, and here's where I'm confused, is with all that data, did the Chinese and or the deep state change even one vote? Forget about 200 million, even one vote. And that was never discussed last night. So, yes, it is important that our enemies and other countries are not able to get that information. And if they do, the onus is certainly on our intelligence to let the president know. He's right about all that, Trump. He should be furious. But at no point last night did he say that even one vote got changed. Or did I miss that?
No, there was no smoking gun that I saw during that speech. I mean, I think he brought out excellent points. Like you said, that the Chinese are meddling and they have all of our voter information, and that's probably not a good thing. But I think the assumption on a lot of Americans is that a lot of people have their voter information, not just the Chinese.
The Russians do, too.
Yeah, other countries as well.
Yeah.
And, right, if you can't show that the votes were changed, then people might have walked away scratching their head and say, okay, well.
Well, that was me.
Yeah.
I walked away scratching my head. Here he is, my guy, President Trump. Primetime address. I actually can't wait to listen to Greg Kelly today because I can't wait to hear how he spins this in a positive way about the president. He loves the president like I do, but, like I always tell you, if the pile is brown, it doesn't necessarily mean it's chocolate, if you know what I'm saying. President Trump, cut number one.
China and other countries have been trying to meddle in our elections. Evidence of fraud has been buried. Hundreds of thousands of non-citizens and dead people are listed and active on the voter rolls, and yet we still have elections with no voter ID, no proof of citizenship, and tens of millions of ballots floating aimlessly through the mail.
See, I agree with all that. That's the truth. Dead people, they do vote somehow, and illegals. I agree with all of that, and that needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. It is still an issue. It has not gone away. But he was not able to tie that to the Chinese and say, well, here's the deal. The Chinese have now acquired all these American profiles, and they've changed Noam Layton, an active Jersey City Republican voter. Somehow they changed his name to a dead Democrat, and that person voted. That's what I needed to hear. What he's saying there is true. It is not right, and it's still going on in every city. But he was not able to tie that, as far as I can tell, although, again, I'm sure Greg and KT will tell me differently. He was not able to tie that to a Chinese participation. Maybe we're just not smart enough. I don't know. I was watching Rescue Me, too. I love that show. I love Dennis Leary.
You were flipping back and forth.
Oh, my, I love Dennis Leary. I got to get this guy on before 9/11, I swear to you. Can't stop watching the show. We're into 7 seasons, episode 4. We watched it the first time in 2004. Now we're watching it again. And I tell everybody the same thing. If you didn't watch it and you're old enough to remember 9/11, watch Rescue Me. And I told my kids, my son Gabriel, he's only 17. He wasn't alive during 9/11. He's about to start watching it because it's entertaining television. You don't have to watch the planes hit the buildings 100 times. Hear about all these ridiculous conspiracy theories. You actually watch an entertaining, funny, emotional, dramatic series which centers around 9/11. And what's funny about it, too, Noam and Lou, is the Donald Trump mentions, a lot of those, he wasn't president. He wasn't even running for president. He's just a regular guy. You got Donald Trump mentions, kind of funny. Who the hell? I was watching an episode last night. They mentioned somebody. I forget who it was. Also, pretty popular New Yorker, but, you know, it's 20 years ago. You know, a lot of these people, their positions have changed. So that's interesting. I find that interesting. Artie Lang is in it. Very funny guy. Wrote the foreword for my first book. You know, Artie from the Howard Stern days. Very, very good show. Have you seen it, Noam?
Oh, yeah. I saw it many years ago.
You got to watch it again.
I'm thinking of doing that. It's fantastic.
I'm telling you, it's great. Lou, you too. You and MJ. Rescue Me. It started on FX. It's now on Netflix. I don't know what our 9/11 cut is for today, but we'll get to it. All right, so there's Trump. Then you get J.D. Vance, and I heard all the Trump supporters. What did he say? What did he say that was so bad about Israel? Really? Well, you talk about proof. Again, President Trump did not provide any proof last night that China changed even one vote. Where's J.D. Vance's proof that all this Israeli money has come into effect what's happening with Iran? Where is all that? Have you seen that, Noam?
I have not.
He comes off, I hate to say it, like an anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, and that's how Jewish people feel. We get back to the word perception. Remember Mayor Eric Adams, perception doesn't matter? Oh, it mattered, Eric. You couldn't even stay in the race. It was so embarrassing for you against Cuomo, Sliwa, and Mamdani. Perception does matter. And the perception among the Jews, the real Jews, not the Mamdani Jews, the real Jews, which are large in numbers, is that J.D. Vance doesn't like us. That's my perception. I don't like J.D. I'm on record saying it 1,000,000 times. I tweeted it. Maybe Trump is upset about that. I don't care. I want Marco Rubio. I don't like J.D. Vance. I don't trust J.D. Vance. I don't like or trust anyone that can call Tucker Carlson a friend. Bottom line. He says, oh, Tucker doesn't make the calls for me. Maybe he doesn't. But you're still friendly with the guy. You still employed his son. I don't trust that guy. So he played in the open, my friend Zach Bonifilo. He's Italian. He's not even Jewish. But he goes by the moniker Misfit Patriot. The Misfit Patriot, very, very popular on Twitter. Again, not Jewish. Lives in San Antonio, Texas. But even he can see the writing on the wall for the vice president. Here he is, the Misfit Patriot, Lewis, cut number 9.
So the truth is that there's a little bit of truth to this. And J.D. Vance might not necessarily be lying as much as he might just be mistaken, right? Again, there's plenty to criticize him on. We don't need to lie. So when I see the people attacking him, I go, okay. When I see people, like when I see what he says, I go, okay. And I'm taking in all of this information. And what I'm getting out of it is this, right? This is what I think, right? Regardless if you think Vance is actually anti-Zionist, if he believes what Tucker Carlson believes, if he's a pro-Groyper, whatever, regardless of that, he's going to lose voters a lot if he's the nominee, right? Because he's either just as bad as people are saying, or they, in quotes, the people who are running the anti-Israel campaigns, and right, or the pro-Israel campaigns, the NGOs, the PSYOPs, the people that are foreign adversaries, could be Democrats, it could be like this is oppo, this is opposition, whoever quote they are, it's working, right? I don't think J.D. Vance, and I've had people say the internet's not real life. It affects real life, man. Look, Trump won because he hit the social media circle. He won because he did the podcast bros. We cannot dismiss the power of social media, how it affects a political campaign. There's also the social media is not real life when it's not real life, like Thomas Massey's hyperinflated fake support through foreign bots and ratioing and X polls and what have you, right? So the truth is, social media is not real life, but it can affect elections.
He's right. Any thoughts on J.D. Vance, Noam?
I think you have it right. I have nothing to add to it. Yeah.
So they've got the Fanatics Fest going on at Jacob Javits. Yesterday, they did a little, I guess, a talk, like I do, when I go to these events. And it was Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Aaron Judge, I think. So all these sports shows at WFAN, they're doing their shows live from there today, I guess yesterday, maybe tomorrow. And all these major sports figures, including my dear friend Darryl Strawberry, who flew in from St. Louis last night, he'll be there today. So if you're a big sports fan and you love all these guys and girls, you're going to check out the Fanatics Fest, where honestly this show should be today, but I can't do everything. I'm sorry.
It's just too much.
It's too much.
The list is endless.
But the good news about this station is, if I went to John Catsimatidis and or Chad Lopez, and I said, we should be at Jacob Javits, you know what they would say? 100%. That's what's great about working here, is that, I can't think of everything all the time, and I'm really the only person at this station who thinks outside the political box. I really am. And I don't blame the other folks for that. But when I do that, if I have a good idea, then the beauty is I've got John's support. I've got Margot's support. She looks great, by the way. I've got Chad's support. So we should consider doing these major sporting events, whether it's a Super Bowl. We've only done one since I've been here, one. Me and Bernie did the Super Bowl in Atlanta when Tom Brady and the Patriots beat Jared Goff and the Rams. And it was great. Bernie wasn't even a big football guy, really wasn't. But we spent 2 days doing shows and spoke to people like Roger Staubach and Jerry Rice. It was great. So moving forward, I do want to do more of that with this show, and we should be at the Jacob Javits Center today. But at any rate, we'll do a great show right here from Midtown Manhattan. And if you're a big sports fan, check that out today.
I was there yesterday with my kids.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, the place was a complete zoo.
Oh, it's a mess, I know.
But you know who was there, and I couldn't get close enough to say hi to him?
Give me a hint.
I think he's coming on the show today.
No, Darryl Strawberry's not coming on today.
No, he was there.
Yeah, I told you. He flew in last night for that. Yeah.
I understand. No, but this guy is going to be a guest on your show today, and I saw him there yesterday. And
George Santos?
No, I think maybe I heard wrong on the guest list.
Okay, my last guess is Andrew Giuliani.
Oh, no, maybe he's not a guest then. Okay.
Who is it?
Bruce Blakeman was there yesterday.
No, he is coming on today.
Oh, okay. I did hear right.
Yeah, Bruce Blakeman's coming on at 7:40.
I don't know when he was there, but there was a crowd around him, so I couldn't.
He's there because he's a jock sniffer.
You think that's what it is?
Bruce, well, I'll tell him right to his face when he calls in this morning. Bruce is the worst. The worst. I'm kidding. No, he does. He loves the athletes. Bruce used to box. You guys know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, Bruce will kick your ass. He actually boxed like Tony Danza. He's a very, very good athlete, a strong guy.
As long as he kicks somebody's ass in another year.
Right. That's what we want exactly in November. But, yeah, he's coming on at 7:40. You know, another story that Norm did a great job covering this morning. You have these homeless encampments, you know, and you got this one in New York City, which spans 12 blocks. So while Mayor Mamdani does nothing, really does nothing, you know, he's freezing rents, which is screwing up landlords, yet he wants the landlords to spend all this money to improve the lives of all these tenants. I mean, he's just getting in his own way time and time again. He's really a moron. I don't want to hear that he went to Brooklyn Tech and how smart he is. The man's a moron. Seriously. But the other homeless issue was in Brooklyn, where my dear friend Ina Vernikov, one of our 5 Republican council members, is trying her very best to make sure that this shelter isn't opened in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, which I believe, Noam, consists of all single men. Not one has been vetted. Is that not true?
Yeah. In fact, what was there were families, and they moved the families out.
They got them out.
Almost all of them are out. I guess there's a few families still in there to make room for, I think it's 110 men.
Men, not vetted. Who knows who these animals are. So here is my dear friend out of Brooklyn, the city council member, who I think has bigger things in store. I really do. Maybe she'll run against AOC. I don't know. Ina Vernikov, this is cut number 13, on her own Instagram saying, help us in Sheepshead Bay.
We just got word from the Department of Social Services that a family shelter in our district on Emmons Avenue, consisting of men, women, and children, will be imminently converted into an all-adult single male shelter. Not only is this decision inhumane and inconsiderate to the families who have already integrated into the Sheepshead Bay community, this decision will have devastating and profound impacts on our neighborhood. The males moving in are not going to be vetted, which means we could have criminals, we could have sex offenders across the street from Lou Fiddler Park, where children often visit a playground. Further, the provider for the shelter is Bragg's. Bragg's senior executives are under a federal indictment for fraud and bribery, and yet Mamdani still gave them a $200 million contract, including this location. Mamdani could not care less about these families. Mamdani could not care less about our neighborhoods and our quality of life. And I have to wonder if this is a deliberate attempt to punish those neighborhoods who did not vote for him and who do not support this administration. I am currently working around the clock to do everything I can to try and prevent this from happening. I'm in touch with the local elected officials, the Assemblyman Colin Yeager, the Senator Sam Sutton. We're working together. We are in touch with the Department of Homeless Services, Social Services. I have reached out to Comptroller Mark Levine. We are working different angles. We're thinking of legal avenues to stop it, and I will keep you posted on every single step of the way. Thank you so much.
Good luck, Ina, baby. You know what I love the last couple of days? I never heard of this guy before. But he goes on Instagram by NYC_drivers_unite. You got that, Noam?
Can you give it to me one more time?
NYC_drivers_unite. Now, Lou, you saw this too.
Yeah, I saw it.
I stuck it in your face yesterday morning.
I saw it a number of times too. It's crazy.
It's amazing. Yeah. This guy, Raul Rivera, again, don't know who he is. He knows me, obviously, because I'm a star. He loves the show. But he followed, I guess, Curtis Sliwa, made some speech which he's complaining about being disrespected, like who cares, in front of the city council a couple of days ago. I don't know what he was talking about. I don't care. So I guess when he exited the speech, or maybe it was some other place, I don't know. But all you see is Curtis in a vacant yard walking towards an exit, and this guy, Raul Rivera, walks up to him, and I can't play it because it's all curses. He said the F word about 10 times. He said all kinds of words, which I can't even use, and if I can't use it, it's bad. And he said, in essence, and at times even verbatim here, you sold us out. You sold out the city. You're a backstabber. You're a sellout. You piece of... He asked him how much money he got from Mamdani to do what he did. He ranked on Curtis. He ranked on Curtis's wife, which I don't do. He went nuts on Curtis. And as he's yelling profanities and pointing, and by the way, this guy, Raul Rivera, never met him, but if it got to a point of any physical altercation, Raul would kick Curtis's ass up and down the street. He's much bigger, much stronger, much younger. And Curtis knows that. He wasn't surrounded by his guardian angels. He was alone. He never even looked back. Me, I would have turned around and said, hey, shut up. Who the hell are you? Curtis did nothing. He just kept walking. And the guy was like, yeah, you keep walking, bitch. Yeah, that's what you do. You keep walking. You sold out the city. You sold out the city. Nothing from Curtis, nothing.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That he didn't say anything.
Nothing. Just kept walking because he was scared to death. I had a raging hard-on. I mean, I can watch porn all day and not get as excited. I really did. Because I'm so tired. I'm still being called a backstabber and a sellout on Instagram by these bots that Curtis put there because he got money. And his supporters, these morons who I yelled at for months. That's still going on. Still. And he's going to run again, despite losing by 60 points to Eric Adams, despite getting just 7%. Why? Because he gets money, and he gets to go on TV, and that's all he cares about. Can't tell you how many times I talked about his integrity, how much he loved this city. He may still love the city. I'm not going to completely destroy the guy because I'm not like that. I'm a better person than he is. He did it to me and John and many others. He burned every decent bridge he had, every one. If he thinks Larry Menti and WOR and his 10 supporters in Middle Village are good, then he's dumber than I thought. I thought he was really smart. But he's the one who actually sold out the city. He did. So, Raul Rivera, wherever you are this morning, you are a hero. Don't you agree, Noam?
Yeah. Speaking of heroes, did you see this guy, Stephen Chan, the Brooklyn state senator?
I don't think I did, no.
This is a crazy story. So Stephen Chan is a state senator. He's 60 years old. Okay, so remember that.
What part of Brooklyn do you know?
Sheepshead Bay, that area.
Oh, Ina Vernikov territory.
Yeah. Former NYPD sergeant. He's a former Marine. But again, he's 60 years old now. He walks in Sheepshead Bay. There's this vicious fight going on in the middle of the street. I mean, this 35-year-old guy's getting pummeled, hit, blood all over the street. So Chan steps in to stop the fight. And he doesn't have to use force. He talks these guys down using what he learned in the police academy and what he learned as a Marine. He uses hey, bro, you don't want to take this fight any further. The police are going to come. You're going to be arrested. And he convinces this guy to stop pummeling this guy. Now, this thing was so bad that eyewitnesses said if he hadn't stepped in, this 35-year-old would not be alive. That's how hard he was being punched.
No kidding.
Yeah. And he was able to talk his way to get these guys to stop fighting. Now, they didn't catch the guy who was doing the punching. He ran away from the scene, but he stopped the fight. And the one person had a knife nearby, and he was just fearless. He walked into this thing, no problem at all, stopped it.
Wow. And I can't imagine he's a big, strong guy.
No, he's an older guy now.
Oh, wow. Stephen Chan. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got two heroes today. It's Hero Friday on Sid and Friends in the morning. Raul Rivera and Stephen Chan, your heroes today. All right, we got a huge show coming up. We'll start with Brian Kilmeade. Always great on a Friday. Oh, I can't believe you did this, Lou. You're so funny. I asked for help this morning. Brian Kilmeade, Bruce Blakeman, K.T. McFarland, Andrew Giuliani, Joe Tacopina, and George Santos. Here's Elton.
Baby, L.A. lady, seamstress for the band. Pretty-eyed pirate smile. You marry music man. Ballerina, you must have seen her dancing in the sand. Now she's in me, always with me, tiny dancer in my hand. Jesus freaks out in the street, handing tickets out for gone.
Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network is Sid and Friends in the morning.
77 WABC.
I love this song. This is the theme for the great show I've been talking about for about 2 weeks, Rescue Me, which you can catch on Netflix now. It was on the FX channel 20 years ago. Dennis Leary about the FDNY and centers around 9/11. That is the theme song. Very good, Lewis.
Yeah, I watched it when it was out a long time ago.
Yeah, watch it again.
Yeah.
Because you'll get such a kick out of the references, like talking about Trump, and you say, oh, my God, he's actually the president of the United States. How crazy is that? Cheryl Marie checks in. She's a longtime fan, great fan, dating back to the Bernie days. She said, Sid, please have Louis play Bizarre. It's from Madonna's new Confessions album.
Oh, that's got to be good.
She said it's rumored to be about her marriage to Sean Penn, and it's a very good song. She's actually a great music chick. She either worked... She may have worked at WDRE or something like that, Lou.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Wow.
What was DRE before that?
LIR.
Yes.
Which it is again now.
It is again now?
Yeah.
And that was 92.7?
That's right.
Right, because 92.3 was K-Rock, yeah.
Yep.
So that was when I would go to, like, Metro 700 in Franklin Square on Long Island on Thursday nights and do a whole bunch of cocaine and watch Flock of Seagulls. That's the type of music. They would actually have the DRE DJs in the house on Thursday nights.
Like Larry the Duck.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Very good, Lewis.
I remember when was DRE last or LA, and then they went to Spanish. They changed.
Oh, they went to Spanish. Yeah.
It was I remember it was 20 years ago, and I sat and listened in the car because I went, okay, here goes the last good station I'm going to listen to.
Funny.
And I think it was either like Don't You Forget About Me was last.
Simple Minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the last songs. And it went from that, then a little like...
Oh, my God. I experienced it down in Miami a lot in my career down there. Yes. Yes. Nuts. Yeah. I believe the...
Hasta la vista!
The FM station that 1010 Wins is on now, which my buddy Chris Olivero made that decision, and it turned out to be a great decision. Putting news on FM worked out well. But they were an alternative rock station before that, I believe. May have been the last one. And then I went to 1010 Wins on the FM dial a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I believe so.
But what was the frequency? What was the... I forgot.
Isn't that 92.3 now?
It's probably
1010 Wins, yes.
You're right.
Yeah, that's
Lee
1010 Wins.
Running down and
yeah, it's 10. Yeah, Lee Harris, here he comes. I believe it is 92.3, yes. At any rate, that Cheryl Marie says that's a good song.
Bizarre. Okay.
What is it called?
Bizarre.
Bizarre, yes.
That's what you told me.
By Madonna, that's right. All right, we'll take a break. We got a lot more to do today. So many great guests are stopping by, and you'll hear a lot about this soccer game on Sunday. We'll start with our colleague here at Talk Radio 77 WABC, and a big star with 2 shows on Fox News. Does a great job with us every Friday. People actually love this conversation. Brian Kilmeade, 6 great guests today. We kick it off with Brian.
This is
Sid on Sports.
Oh, my goodness! Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com, find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. Start out in Philly. Francisco Alvarez homered twice. Brett Beatty also went deep, and the Mets defeated the Phillies 4-1 in the first Major League game following the All-Star break. Christian Scout pitched 5 2/3 shutout innings for the Mets, would launch 3 solo homers off starter Aaron Nola. New York slugger Juan Soto was removed in the 8th because of left calf soreness, but interim manager Andy Green said the All-Star outfielder is expected back in the lineup this weekend. Before the game, the Mets reinstated second baseman Marcus Semien from the IL. He didn't play, but he had been on the IL since June 25th with a left hip flexor strain. You should see him out there soon. After a rare Friday off, Mets and Phillies resume their series tomorrow. The lefty Sean Manaea is scheduled to start for New York against Phillies' Jesus Luzardo. As for the Yankees, they will open up their second half action tonight in the Bronx, 7:05 p.m. first pitch at the stadium. We'll welcome in the LA Dodgers, a little 2024 World Series rematch there. Garrett Cole to start for New York against LA's Roki Sasaki. And the 154th Open Championship, it is underway, and day 2 already well underway over at Royal Birkdale. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan of Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com. Find a deal under you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So the two guys who have been the face of this really successful World Cup tournament for me have been Andrew Giuliani. He's going to join me coming up at 8:30 this morning. And my dear friend and colleague who follows me each and every morning here at 10 o'clock on WABC, also on Fox and Friends, and the host of the best cable show out there today, 10 p.m. Sunday nights on Fox News One Nation, Brian Kilmeade. Giuliani, Kilmeade, Giuliani, it doesn't matter. They are the faces of soccer here in New York City. And here we go. Yamal versus Messi. This is as good as it gets. Now, you know who I'm rooting for. Spain has proven during the Iran war they hate America. We know the Spaniards are also anti-Semitic. And we know Argentinian fans, they hang Israeli flags at their games and even pissed off the coaches of Egypt. So clearly, you know that Sid Rosenberg is rooting enthusiastically for Argentina. The problem is, I'm not a big soccer guy, but I really learned a lot this tournament. I don't see anybody beating Spain. Their defense is like the old New Jersey Devils. You can't move the ball down the field. They shut out France. My fear is they'll do the same to Argentina on Sunday. But what do I know? Here's Brian Kilmeade. Brian, good morning. Let's start with this. Is this the dream matchup?
I think it is. I mean, for the world, absolutely. For the people that love soccer, you got the matchup. You got the high-profile European champions against the defending World Cup champions. There hasn't been a repeat World Cup champion since, I think, 1962. And then you got the greatest player of all time, still thriving at the age of 39. Playing against the next great player, a 19-year-old, which is, they were just featured him on 60 Minutes a couple of months ago. The guy wears braces. I mean, the guy should really just be starting his first year of college, and he's among the best players in the world and the most popular sport in the world. So it's going to be fantastic. But look, Sid, what you just described, if you know sports, you could get a feel through this. I've noticed, like, people that are open and just watch a game. You go watch a game. Okay, what's going on here? I watch a few games, got a few trends. I could see the way offenses and defenses lay out. It's similar to lacrosse, very similar to hockey. There's a lot of the same concepts. How you move without the puck, without the ball, very similar. So you could figure it out. And then what are teams doing? In a way, you know, Argentina's just finding a way to stay alive. Remember, they were down to Cape Verde. Remember, they were down to Egypt, and Egypt had a controversial goal taken away. And then if England doesn't stop playing offense, my goodness, these are the best coaches in the world. They invented the game. They go up 1-0. It's an evenly balanced game. Maybe England's getting better of the play. They take out their forward. They take their forward. They drop them into midfield. They remove another midfielder. They put in a defender. They give up on offense. And then you have the best offense in the world able to go work for 35 minutes and try to find a seam, and they finally do. A beautiful cross over a 6'2 defender into off the head of a 5'11 forward. Goal, 1-1. And then the second goal, when it was time for England to get back on offense, they heard he had subbed out their forwards. So they can't get into offense. Now, of course, that's a dumb move. And I just say to myself, wait, you are coaching England. If I could sit at home and say, what are you doing? And now everyone's saying, what did they do? How could they possibly, the same team that came back against Mexico in Mexico, on that elevation, you know, it's 100,000 feet above the earth, the Azteca Stadium. This same England that found a way to win just gave up that game. So Spain should win, but Argentina's got a way of finding a way to score. And they got the best player ever. And it's good for our league, MLS, that you could come here at 35, just win a World Cup, and they go, oh, that Messi's given up. He's going to that American League where he's just looking to retire. Wrong. He wins a championship and then comes back at 39 and hasn't lost a step in his game. That makes our league look good.
No question about it. And again, Messi plays his home games in Miami. And in Miami tomorrow, the day before the big matchup at Giant Stadium, you're going to get the losers of the last two games. And that, of course, is France taking on England. And my daughter has her friend staying at my house for the last 9 days. Emily, she lives in England. She was heartbroken a couple nights ago. She's actually looking forward to the game against France on Saturday, even though it's really just for a consolation prize. So you got a big game coming up tomorrow and the bigger one coming up on Sunday. Let's talk Trump. I can't believe in America 2026 that two major networks don't air his speech last night. I don't care if you hate him. I don't care if you think he's talking about the same nonsense for 7 years. You don't want to hear it anymore. He's the president of the United States. How ABC and NBC did that. CBS carried it, but they also kind of wimped out halfway through. They said, okay, enough of this. And to be honest, Brian, as I was watching it, I was confused myself. It looks like China did something wrong, but I didn't really hear the president explain to me how China changed even one vote. So the networks, they should be embarrassed, but watching the speech, I was mostly confused. I think I speak for most Americans.
Yeah, I want a secure election. I don't think I learned anything last night, but for him to call out China, knowing how delicate those relations are, that's why he was holding off on the massive Russian sanctions, because he wanted to sanction any country doing business with Russia. And he goes, really? You want me to sanction India and China? They're prominent trade partners with us. If I tariff them, they'll tariff us. It's going to hurt us too, but it's to help bring Russia to its knees. So he's so careful about that. At the same time, he said you affected you just hacked off 220,000 voters' information.
Million.
220 million, information. But what do they do with it? Someone pointed out to me, do you know if I'm a political operative, I could get voter information. And then I figure out how to target. What is Sid interested in? These are the things he's interested in. This is how to win him over. So I'm pretty sure that micro-targeting existed. So we're supposed to get something from the CIA today. What I found most intriguing is when he said he was not given his full intelligence brief because people had sold in his intelligence apparatus in 2018 were sold out to China. They were holding certain things back. Also, he said that certain people in the media were paid to write negative things about him. I need to know who those people are, right?
I think you could probably figure some of that out. But, yes, I want to know, too. And I was intrigued by that, too. But, yeah, you can probably figure it out. This is the great Brian Kilmeade. Follows me each and every morning right here on WABC. One Nation and Fox and Friends on Fox News. Okay, Brian, so you are also great at this, and that is breaking down where we are in this Iran conflict. I've got K.T. coming up later on today. She's been very high on what the president and America has done. I have my moments. Some days I feel good about it. Some days I'm like, nah. Brian Kilmeade, where are we?
Well, look, this is what we said. You said, I don't know if we should have done this, but if you're going to do it, and you told me, Sid, I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Finish it. Do it right. Don't go halfway.
That's right.
So he's not going halfway, and he's got a system, and they got a plan, and they're going to physically open up the strait. Physically, they're bombing out structures, killing off bridges, damaging roads that would stop any infiltration. Little by little, we're going to physically take over the strait, and we have begun to blow up bridges last night. At the same time, our not much damage has been done to our bases. We know we're getting to them when they said that if you continue to do this, we're sending the Houthis out to shut down the Red Sea, which is 7% of the world's oil. Now, they won't be able to shut it down. They'll be able to damage it, and merchant ships can't get insurance if they go through there. But we're doing significant damage. We're not going to put people on the ground. If anyone says, Donald Trump wants to put 150,000 troops on the ground, no one's saying that, including J.D. Vance. He's got to knock it off. These people, these war hawks want to do It's 150,000. Nobody said that. You don't just make up a story. Like the Mets better not trade their whole starting five. No one said they're trading their starting five. So don't even bring it up. What J.D. Vance is doing behind the scenes, I'm not too happy with the 3 hours with Joe Rogan. Not too happy with a lot of the stuff he was saying. He sounds like a pundit. You're the vice president, all right? Back up the president. Stop the shots at Israel. There are people in the Israeli government, really, that want to have perpetual war? Are you crazy? Are you that stupid? There's nobody who wants war with Israel. Israel does not want to have perpetual war. They have to reduce the threat or eliminate it. And they don't want to stop halfway. That's a lot different than people in their government want perpetual war. Nobody benefits. You think Israel wants to take their economy and put 40% of it into military and not build up their infrastructure and their innovation and their business sector? Come on. And for the vice president to say that, it's outrageous. I love what the president's doing. I think he's letting the military do it. I love the way he's keeping a steady hand. I see a major breakthrough in the next few days. I think by Monday, you're going to see some things happening. By the way, they have not shot at a single ship in 4 days.
Brian, I'm glad you brought up J.D. Vance. I know you see my tweets, and I ripped them. But I've been ripping J.D. Vance for months, and I've been saying time and time again, I need Marco Rubio to be my nominee in 2028. I want no part of Vance. And he didn't just sound like a pundit. He sounded like Tucker Carlson. And he went out of his way to say, hey, I don't take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson, but he sounds a lot like him. And all the sycophants of Trump and this administration, and I'm one of those. I'm a Trump sycophant, but I don't like J.D. Vance. They're like, wait a second. What did J.D. say that was so bad about Israel? What did J.D. say that was so bad about Israel? Real people that I work with, that I respect. Are they kidding me? So I'm glad you brought up J.D. Vance, because it's not just the Jews. If you understand anything about the America-Israel relationship, you should be furious.
Yeah, and by the way, it's a two-way relationship. It's not just us helping Israel. Israel helps us unbelievably. The latest was the would-be assassination attempt. The intelligence shared. If you talk to anyone in the CIA, they're in awe of the Mossad. The way they work together it's indispensable. And these idiots, the 103 that voted against Israel aid, that's the future. That's why Netanyahu said what he said last month. We got to be prepared to manufacture our own weapons. You're right, because he understands American politics as good as any American politician, and they want to blame Netanyahu for everything. So, I like Israel, or I don't have anything against Jewish people. I just don't like this government. Well, just wait. When the next government comes in, whenever that is, they're going to go, my problem is Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran. I don't care what your policy is. Any other leader, unless they sell their soul in Israel, has to handle Iran. So they're going to realize, or they know it already, that Netanyahu is not the problem. I think Steve Witkoff thinks Netanyahu's the problem. Oh, he's worried about his election. Yeah, because he wants to do a good job and win, maybe. But he doesn't attack Hezbollah for ratings points. He's attacking Hezbollah to get the northern residents of Israel back in their homes because they're getting rocketed. So this is not hard. I don't understand why people are being so stupid about it. I really don't.
Well, because they hate the Jews. They hate the Jews. They go, no, I'm not anti-Jew. I'm anti-Zionist. I'm anti-Bibi. And you and I have both had Bibi on our shows the last week or so. He was on with you. He was great. And on TV, he was on with me on this radio show Monday. He was great. And he's tremendous. It's not just Witkoff. It's even Jared Kushner. He's another guy that's pretty critical of Bibi. So, on one hand, Trump knows how great Bibi is. On the other hand, in his other ear, he's got his son-in-law, he's got Witkoff, he's got the vice president telling him how bad Bibi is. So that's why I think the president sounds a little confused every now and then. Okay, 2 days away from the big show coming up on Sunday night, One Nation, 10 p.m. Sunday nights. Great show on Fox News. Brian, what can we look forward to?
This Kathy Hochul comes out and says no more data centers in New York. Really? You're banning data centers. You're going to deny upstate New York more jobs, more economic opportunity, just like Cuomo did with fracking and hurting our utility bills by shutting down the nuclear power plant Indian Point. Mike Rowe's going to break down how many jobs are we blowing, and are there legitimate concerns with data centers, about water and about utility bills. Didn't the president handle that? Micro's going to break it down. Plumbers, pipe fitters, electricians, all would be building these data centers. And by the way, I think that they'll turn out that if China's doing anything, they're advertising, trying to get people to push back against these data centers so they can catch up. Brian Mast on this war, he's chairman of Foreign Relations in the House. He wants to be the next Secretary of State should Rubio ever run or step aside. He's going to be with us, too. He gave up his legs in fighting in the war. And then I got Brian Johnson. This guy wants to live forever, the biohacker. He just got a terminal illness. Brian Johnson is the guy who's basically living in a bubble, reversing the aging process. So I want to talk to him about what he's going through. I also have my last guest is Rob Blagojevich. He's going to be on. They're doing a special on him. I also want to get him on Chicago and everything else going on with the Chicago Teachers Union, who are basically communists. Tommy Laren's going to be with us, who I am responsible for the relationship you have with her now. So I feel as though she's going to be on doing some media moments for us. So it's going to be a fun show.
Sounds like a great show. And talking about Kathy Hochul, my next guest this morning after you on this show happens to be the man that's going to beat Kathy Hochul, your executive in your hometown in Nassau County, the great Bruce Blakeman. Kilmeade, as always, what a tremendous job you just did here this morning. Really amazing. I love you. And I really want Argentina to win. I don't think they're going to, but I am rooting hard for Argentina. Let's go, Argentina.
And don't forget about October 17th, Old Westbury. Sid will be on stage in the round. BrianKilmeade.com. The Uniting the States tour, as my book launches. My book launches on the 13th, so it'll be an exciting show. Another reason to love America.
I love it. Another reason to love America and you. Have yourself a great weekend, Brian Kilmeade. We'll all be watching on Sunday night. You're the best. Thank you so much.
Go get him, Sid.
There he is. Brian Kilmeade comes up after me each and every weekday morning at 10 o'clock right here on 77 WABC, Fox and Friends. And you just heard it. What a great show he has coming your way. 10 p.m. Sunday night. It is One Nation on Fox News. Take a break. 3 more hours to come. Big names. Bruce Blakeman. We'll talk to Joseph Tacopina. We got some surprise guests. Even George Santos is stopping by today. The Friday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning rolls on.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Governor Kathy Hochul is taking action against AI data centers. She made New York the nation's first state to impose a moratorium on building new centers.
This is in part meant to give the state some time to assess the impact on both the environment and surrounding communities, as the centers have caused controversy over the amount of resources needed to operate. The governor is with us right now. Nice to have you back on. Good day.
Good morning. Good to see you both
So
again.
Tell us about why now put a pause on this, because we have 100 and something data centers already up and operating, and a few more in the pipeline already under contract.
Well, there's different kinds of data centers. We have the back office operations for a bank or a hospital or a university. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the hyperscaler, massive, the ones that consumes and guzzles so much energy.
Do we have those already here, though?
We have some, but there's many more that are applying. All of a sudden, there's been this sort of wild rush to get applications in all over the country, because I think the president had telegraphed that he might want some change. So everybody flood the zone. And so now we're dealing with this huge spike in the number of applications. And a lot of our little communities upstate, they don't have the sophistication to be able to negotiate with a major AI company and a major tech company and really get good community benefits, make sure that they're not taking too much water. And I said this in my State of the State. If you want to come here, you have to bring your own power or pay a premium to use our grid. This is what I need for the moratorium for. Lay out the framework. You can come, but the community has to welcome you. You have to give substantial benefits. I'm talking about millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to communities and benefits. They're doing it in other parts of the country.
When I'm inducted officially into the New York Broadcasting Hall of Fame in October at that beautiful luncheon at the Rainbow Room, guess who's going in with me? Rosanna Scotto. So Scotto had the governor on yesterday, and anybody with a half a brain knows that these data centers are not only important, but they provide, you ready for this word? Jobs. Bruce Blakeman is the current Nassau County executive. He won it for the second consecutive time, getting a lot of votes from Democrats and independents. He's running for governor. He's my brother. Here he is, the great Bruce Blakeman. Brucey, good morning, pal. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. We're doing great.
I know you guys are. And I know because I've got a spy in your office every day. Happens to be my son. We'll get to that later. But let me get to these data centers. Here is another example of Kathy Hochul costing New York jobs. Or am I wrong?
This is an act of economic cowardice and malpractice on the part of Governor Hochul. Said there is a way to get this done where it can be a win-win-win. You sit down with the data center developers and local governments and other community people of interest, utility companies, and you figure out how to make it work. If there's a water problem, you make sure that there's a water recirculation element to the project so that the water keeps recirculating. If there's a utility problem, you make the data center provide its own power generation, and on top of that, you let them sell for a minimal cost the excess energy to the grid to bring down people's utility costs. And you provide tax abatements to people who live around the data centers so their taxes are reduced. So you cut their taxes, you cut their utility costs, and you put in data centers that create jobs that will be employing carpenters, electricians, plumbers, steam fitters to do the work to build these places, and you get along with the future of an industry that is now the fastest growing industry in America. But Kathy Hochul, she has continuously made blunders and huge mistakes that now have us ranked 50 out of 50 states at the very bottom of economic outlook and economic development. And that's why people are leaving the state. They're looking for jobs in other places. And that's why businesses don't want to locate here. When I become governor, we're going to sit down with all the stakeholders and figure this thing out and get it done so it's a win-win-win for everybody.
Well, what is she complaining about? You have to, because this is a little, look, this is some pretty good inside baseball stuff. A lot of my listeners I stole from Boomer Esiason. Right, so they're getting ready to watch the Yankees and the Dodgers later on tonight. You just explained it. It sounds like it's a great opportunity for people in any one of these states to build these data centers. What is she bitching about? What's her problem?
Well, there are legitimate concerns. The number one concern is energy generation because these data centers require a lot of energy. Okay. So the developers have said, we will produce on-site the power generation, not only for our data center, but we'll provide extra for the surrounding community, or we will rebuild your existing power plants to increase the capacity. They're willing to invest money in that. The data centers require a tremendous amount of water. There's new technology now with recirculation systems. So you can make it mandatory for the recirculation of water at the data centers. So there are solutions to the problems, but there's a lot of misinformation out there. And it's coming from the left. It's coming from China, who doesn't want us to beat them in this AI race. AI is the fastest growing industry in the world. For New York to completely shut themselves out of it is another reason why we are in a death spiral here in New York, the most overtaxed state, utility costs 70% higher than the national average, and unsafe communities because Kathy Hochul's lack of leadership. And now she's partnered with Zohran Mamdani, who is completely clueless when it comes to economic development. He's a communist. Yep. So the two of them together are trying to destroy our state. I'm not going to let that happen. I will be the governor on January 1st, and we will find solutions to these problems. We will make AI data centers work for the communities that they go into, and those communities will want them, provided that there are enough incentives to make sure that the surrounding communities are happy with the data centers, which I believe will happen because it's happening in every other state.
It is, and you mentioned the people leaving, and they are leaving. I know, John Catsimatidis, thank God, is still here. We love John. And others, Bill Ackman is still here, and Griffin still has some stuff here, But people are leaving. I think I saw a number like $11 billion in tax money basically out the door. Years and years ago, you remember, Bruce, before you ran for governor, she actually told us to leave. She said, hey, Lee Zeldin, President Trump, Sid Rosenberg, hop on a plane. See ya. I was down in Fort Lauderdale a couple of months ago, and that was when she was begging New Yorkers to come back. And I joked around. I made a tweet. I'm on the beach in Fort Lauderdale trying to convince New Yorkers to come back to a state where they want to overtax you with a mayor who hates Americans and Jews. Come on home. And I think it got like 3 million retweets. But the truth is, she has invited New Yorkers to leave for years.
This is someone who is completely out of touch, doesn't understand that when high net worth individuals leave, they take their tax revenue with them. So who has to fill that gap? The burden falls on middle class taxpayers. And when those rich people leave, who does it hurt? It hurts the waiter, the waitress, the electrician, the plumber, the carpenter, the dry cleaner, the local dry cleaner, the local pharmacy. It has a ripple effect in a deleterious way on the economy. And that's why New York is last in economic outlook. And one of the things she said on Rosanna's show yesterday, and it just shows her antipathy for people around this state. She said people upstate don't have the sophistication to deal with the people in the AI.
I heard her say that. And that's rough.
Listen to me. I have traveled to every nook and cranny, every corner of this state. And I can tell you that I have found really, really bright, sophisticated, articulate people located throughout the state, whether they're farmers, whether they're working in blue-collar jobs. They have what Kathy Hochul doesn't have, Sid, common sense.
Yes, but here's where I'm going to agree with her, but it's her fault. Because I was just at my mom's house in White Lake / Canyonga Lake, New York, 2 weekends ago, Bruce. She's exactly 5 miles from Monticello. Those people barely have teeth. I'm being serious, let alone income or smarts, because the last couple of governors, Andrew Cuomo, Kathy Hochul, who promised to help the people in Monticello, in Rochester, in Binghamton, in Syracuse, in Utica, promised to help them, have left them behind. And these people are drug-addled. They don't have jobs. And quite frankly, they're not sophisticated. But that's because the leadership has basically left them to die. Ask Todd Hood. He'll tell you firsthand.
Well, Sid, there are pockets of abject poverty throughout the state of New York created by Kathy Hochul, especially on the southern tier of our state where she won't let extraction of natural gas. But let me tell you something. I've talked to a lot of people in small towns upstate. I talked to a lot of farmers. And let me tell you something. They're sharp, and I wouldn't take them for granted. It's like what Kathy Hochul said that quite frankly I thought was racist when she said that black kids in the Bronx don't know what a computer is.
She said that?
Yes, she did.
Oh, my God.
She has an antipathy towards people. She's an elitist.
Oh, my God.
And the fact that she would say something like that, first of all, I'm of the generation where I'm not the most technologically savvy.
Me either.
Okay? I can tell you right now that the vast majority of black kids in the Bronx or any other place are better on a computer than I am.
Me too. Well, that is absolutely a racist remark. Absolutely.
Well, it's like what she said about people upstate, lumping them all together. And she has this superiority complex that she knows better than anybody else what's best for our families. She wants to have government parent our children. This nonsense of gestating parent and non-gestating parent, instead of calling them moms and dads or mothers and fathers.
Terrible.
this is all part of her superiority complex, where she thinks she should be able to control our lives, and she's doing a miserable job.
She really is.
Overtaxed.
Yeah.
70% higher utility rates. How do you explain that?
You can't. That's why people are leaving. And what is her issue, Bruce Blakeman, my man Bruce, the next governor here in New York? Write it down right now. What is her issue with gas stoves? What's the problem there?
It doesn't fit into her green energy scam dogma. She is engaged in a scam on the ratepayers of everybody who pays an electric bill in the state of New York, where every time you make a payment, a portion goes to a fund that she controls, where they invest in science projects that produce very little energy. It's very costly, like the solar farms in upstate New York that were under snow for 4 months. How's that going to produce any energy? But somebody made a lot of money off of that, Sid. And somebody got a lot of political contributions from that. And how about 60-story wind turbines out in the middle of the ocean? Now, I talk to contractors and developers every single day, and I ask them, is it cost efficient to build in the middle of the ocean? You got to barge everything out there. It's dependent on weather. It's dependent on tides. You probably only get 2 days a week of work. It's insane when we have one of the largest natural gas reserves in our state, and Kathy Hochul won't let us use it. It would dramatically increase the supply. It would make us more secure with the electric grid, and it would bring down energy costs. It would create jobs and prosperity in our state. And here's the stupidest thing about it. She won't let us do it in New York State, but she's buying the same natural gas from Pennsylvania.
Oh, come on. That's idiotic. Come on.
Is that dumb?
Yes. It's not only dumb, it's killing us. It's just killing us. I mean, you know, and the other thing you talked about, somebody's making money, and I'm not accusing her necessarily, but you go back to COVID way before you ran for governor. There was a lot of rumors about her and her husband and masks and all the things that she wanted for New Yorkers, where some of that money meant. I'm just saying it's out there. Or those memorabilia stands at the football stadium for the Buffalo Bills. All that stuff is out there. I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm telling you, all that stuff is out there. And sometimes when there's smoke, there really is a fire. I do want to clear up one thing. This state and city, there are a bunch of horrible liberal losers. They write terrible things about me all the time. They actually accused me. You ready for this? They accused me of inspiring the guy that dropped the bombs at Gracie Mansion until they found out it was two ISIS guys. But the first story they wrote accused me of inspiring some white supremacist to bomb Gracie Mansion. They're terrible people. And they've been writing all week that there's a much bigger discrepancy in funds raised between you and Hochul than you are willing to admit. What's the truth there?
Well, the truth is that they have these arcane accounting systems for the reporting of your funds. And right now, my people tell me that they have done a thorough accounting and that we have raised over $11 million.
Nice.
She's claiming I raised only $8 million. First of all, what's the difference? The bottom line is I will raise enough money to beat Kathy Hochul because there are people out there that are writing me checks for $100. They're going on my website and they're giving their credit card $50. They're doing whatever they can to support this grassroots effort to save our state. And Kathy Hochul tries to change the narrative all the time. And here's the bottom line. We are last in everything except for taxes, which were first, and utility costs, which were 70% higher. That's all people have to know about Kathy Hochul. And then I'll put something on top of that people have to know. She's the most pro-criminal governor in the United States of America. Cashless bail, raise the age, the HALT Act. We are in a death spiral in New York. She has partnered up with somebody who is a mayor of our great city of New York who is anti-American. His July 4th speech was dark. It was vindictive. It was anti-American. Couldn't get one sentence in his whole speech praising the United States of America, the freest country in the world, the country who's created more prosperity than any other country in the world, the leader of democracy in the world. He couldn't say one nice thing about us. He comes from Uganda. Lord knows what government is like there. Lord knows what life is like in Uganda.
Yeah.
He was blessed to be able to come here. He was blessed to be elected mayor of the city of New York, and he hates America.
Yep.
And that's a problem for me.
Big problem. That's why when you win, you're going to remove them. So listen, on the way out, everybody knows how close you and I are. We're brothers. I think people don't even realize how close we are. We talk every day. We are that close. But now, Bruce Blakeman, now you've got 2 generations of Rosenbergs in love with you. My son Gabriel started working for you on Monday. He put in the last 4 days. He liked you. He knew who you were. He knew that I loved you. I talk about you at home at the dinner table all the time. I'm not saying this just to patronize you or, make sure you take good care of Gabriel. He loves you. He loves you. He comes home now. He talks about the governor's race. This guy's got to win. My 17-year-old son even knows that you need to win to save New York. So just so you know, 2 generations of Rosenbergs adore you.
Well, first of all, he's a great kid.
Thank you.
And second of all, look, I give kids an opportunity every summer. I got a lot of interns. I want them to learn about government. I want them to learn about public service. They come from all walks of life. They come from all communities. And I want them to see firsthand how government operates. And I got to tell you, I got the greatest group of kids. I've got an alumni of interns that have worked for me that are going to very prestigious universities, that are going on to do great things in their life. And that's what you have to do. You got to get young people involved. But let me tell you something. I love you, Sid, and I love Gabriel, but I only give an opportunity. It's up to the kids to produce. They got to do their job. And one thing, I asked one of my other interns, who this is her second year, I said, how's Gabriel doing? She said, he's doing great. He's a great kid, and he's a very kind person.
Oh, my God, you're going to make me cry. Thank you for saying that. And I've heard from some of the other parents of the interns. Doug Goodstein, pretty famous guy. He worked for Howard Stern and Mark Levin. His son, Judd, is one of your interns. And one of the mothers actually reached out to me, Brielle's mom, and said that Brielle loves working with Gabriel. So you got a great group of kids. And the future of New York works hard every day to ensure that Bruce Blakeman wins. This was an amazing conversation, maybe our best yet. Mr. Governor, thank you for hopping on this Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll do it again next week, Bruce. I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you too. God bless you, Sid, and God bless America.
You too. There he is, the amazing Nassau County executive and the next governor of New York. He's an impressive guy. Tremendous man, really is, Bruce Blakeman. We'll take a break. We'll come back with another great lady. She's great on this show every Friday. She really is. Our dear friend K.T. McFarland. She follows up Bruce Blakeman.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
So, I'm paranoid. You know me, I'm paranoid. I always think the president is mad at me because I am one of the few Trump sycophants, and I am a sycophant. I love him to pieces, that actually does criticize him. Most don't. They find everything he does. I don't do that, Even Mark Levin got a call from President Trump a couple of days ago. So I always think he's mad at me, But Noam, you made the point that I would not be invited to this big soiree tomorrow in Jersey if he was mad at me, right?
No, you'd be on a list of people who are not invited.
Right. He's not mad at me. He's too busy anyway. He has no idea what I'm saying. But at any rate, like last night, he made a big speech, and I loved a lot of what he said, a lot of it. And I agree with him on a lot of it. But with all the stuff he pointed out about China, he never made a point last night about one example of one vote that was changed, not one. I agree that I don't need foreign countries meddling in our elections, and they probably did. I agree with all of it. Great. But what exactly did they do
that cost us the election. He never really made that point.
No smoking gun. And of course, he was in China recently.
Right.
So you'd think he would have brought it up.
Here you go.
There.
You're going to repeat Josh Shapiro?
Well, no, but it's true. It's accurate.
Right. How come you didn't say that to she when you were in China last month?
Yeah.
No. Anyway, we love bringing on K.T. McFarland every Friday. I think she's the smartest political person out there. K.T., good Friday morning. How are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you.
You are terrific. So tell me what exactly the president accomplished last night, and to Noam and Josh Shapiro's point, if he's been so upset, and I agree with him, that I do think the Chinese do meddle. Well, he had his opportunity in China not that long ago to walk up to Xi and say, hey, buddy, we know what you're doing, cut it out. So what did he accomplish last night? And if he is so upset, why didn't he approach Xi when he was in China?
Yeah, I'm scratching my head. I just don't understand it. It's disinformation campaign. Look, everybody does this disinformation campaigns. The Russians, the Chinese, they understand that the great strength of America is that we're self-governing, a self-governing democracy. But there's also, in many ways, our greatest weakness, because it can be countries, ideologies can scramble our brain. And China particularly uses TikTok. I'm much more concerned with China using TikTok to sort of targeted ads to scramble people's brains, hate America, love America, this aspect of America, that aspect of America, really, than I am about all the other stuff. But it's a disinformation campaign. The Russians have been doing it since the beginning of the Soviet Union, because their feeling is that the United States can never be destroyed from without, but it could be destroyed from within. And so they're trying to foment division, animosity, doubt, distrust of the whole constitution and democracy and the electoral system. And when Xi Jinping came out last week and said, well, we need to have state-directed artificial intelligence, it's state just means that those are the guys in charge. I mean, that's the whole scam of communism, is that we'll be the ones in charge and you'll take our orders, as opposed to we're going to take orders from you, you're going to take orders from us.
Right.
I think, to me, the more important speech that was given last week or yesterday was Marco Rubio's, which was a stirring defense of democracy and personal integrity and accountability and entrepreneurial spirit, and it was a condemnation of the whole global leftist movement, which only seeks to tear down. It's driven by envy and greed, and is the worst. It brings out the worst angels of men's nature, to paraphrase Lincoln.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I love Trump. I love him, but I really love Rubio. Like, I love this guy so much, and I don't like Vance. I don't like him, okay? And I thought his performance with Joe Rogan was gross. I'm sick and tired. I hear the same garbage he put out there 2 days ago at Rogan from people like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. You're the vice president of the United States. If you're going to go out there and talk about all this Israeli money being funneled that made this decision, it wasn't the Israeli money that made the decision. It was the Iranians. They refuse to cooperate. They don't want to play ball. So when J.D. Vance says, well, I don't take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson, and then he sounds exactly like Tucker Carlson, come on. Enough of this already. Enough of J.D. Vance and Tucker and all these people. Marco Rubio needs to run, and he needs to win. You may feel differently, but I am sick of J.D. Vance.
Well, I'm not going to speak about J.D. Vance one way or the other, but I want to just tell you an example of something that happened to me years and years ago. It was when President Obama recognized Cuba. And I was the Fox News national security analyst, had my own show on Fox, what's now called a podcast. It's called DEFCON 3. And so Marco Rubio's office called and said, could I interview him? He wanted to make a statement on Cuba against what President Obama was doing, and he wanted to do it in a setting where I would interview him. So we did it in New York at the Women's National Republican Club, this old, beautiful, old, but a little bit dilapidated building in Midtown Manhattan.
Yeah, I know it. Yep.
And but because it was Marco Rubio, he was a senator. They had a lot of cameras there, not that huge an audience, but the whole point was he wanted to tell the world that he was against what President Obama was doing with regard to Cuba. So we walked up the back staircase, the service staircase, to 3 floors up to get to the floor that we were going to be making the speech on. He was going to be making the speech on, and I was going to interview him after the speech. And all along the wall, very narrow, remember, old building, narrow staircases, all along the wall, assembled at attention, were all of the Hispanic workers of that place.
Love it.
They were the maids, they were the janitors, they were the guys who washed the dishes and cleared the tables. They were all Hispanic. They did not touch him. They did not say anything. They didn't try to take a selfie. They just stood at attention to honor him.
Awesome.
And to honor what he became. His mother was a cleaning lady. His dad was a bartender.
Yep.
And at that moment, I thought, whoa, this man will be president someday. Look at the inspiration and hope he gives to the people who came to this country, fled whatever they fled, came to this country, made something of themselves, and they look at him and think, my son could do this, my daughter could do this. And it was just a very telling, poignant moment. And he stopped along the staircase. We're all crunched up together, a little narrow staircase. And he, shakes a hand, puts a hand on somebody else's shoulder. And it was just a moving moment. And he handled it so well. And at that point, I knew not only would Marco Rubio be president someday, he should be president.
What a great story.
Who knows when?
Well, that's a great story. You say who knows when. So you don't have to critique J.D. Vance. You don't have to compliment J.D. Vance. Who do you think right now, if in fact they are both going to run, who do you think right now would be the more attractive candidate to the Republican voters?
Oh, I think we just have to wait and see. How does Iran work out? I think it will work out extremely well. But it's going to be. But
hold on. But wait. If Iran works out extremely well, okay, and Brian Kilmeade told me he thinks Monday could be a big day. I'll get your thoughts on that. If Iran works out extremely well, JD gets no credit for that. JD, I know this for a fact, not a rumor, for a fact. Somebody in the room told me he was a pain in the ass the whole way. He didn't want this conflict with Iran. By the way, this may be just a coincidence, but when the IRGC last week called the assassination of President Trump, Marco Rubio, Laura Loomer, Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, guess who wasn't on the list? J.D. Vance. So if Iran works out, it ain't because of J.D. He wanted no part of this.
I understand the sentiment of that wing of the Republican Party. In fact, I share it. I was very much against the Iraq war, after about the first 3 or 4 years when it was clear. I went to Afghanistan in about 2005, 6, and it was clear to me we were never going to win this war, that we were an occupying force, that we had gone about it all the wrong way, and the idea that we were going to, quote, build democracy in a country like that was just a hopeless waste of money, time, blood, and treasure. So I come from the wing of being very cautious and skeptical of foreign engagements in foreign wars. I even wrote there's what's called the Weinberger Principles of War that said before we commit American forces overseas, we should meet a certain number of tests. And do the American people really want this? Do we have the objective to win? Do we have the resources to win? Is it in our vital national interests? But I look at the Iran situation, and there's where I would make the exception. Maybe J.D. Vance didn't. I would.
No, I'll tell you why, though. But let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Iran's going to get nukes.
Right, but besides that, you're right about Iraq, and everybody else was wrong. Just you and Bernard were right about that. I understand, KT, why you would have been against Iraq and Iran years ago, okay? My issue with J.D. is not only did he not care if Iran got nukes, but he was against this because him, like many others, believe this is Bibi's war. This is not our war. This is Bibi's war. When I hear that, it makes my hair stand up, and I'm bald. This is where all this anger you're hearing this morning comes from with J.D. Vance. Because you can't fool me, you can't lie to me. It ain't going to happen. I'm not Israel first. I'm America first. But you bet your butt I'm Israel second. I'm Israel second. And when you do stuff like that, it's going to make me angry. So it's not that J.D. measured all of the pros and cons and figured out this is good, this is bad. He didn't care about the nukes. He didn't want us to fight Bibi's war. You know that.
I don't know what his motivations are, and I can't speculate, but this was not Bibi's war. Maybe it's partially Bibi's war, but it's our war, because nobody else had the courage that Donald Trump had to say enough. Iran is not going to be allowed to have nuclear weapons. We went into it hoping that it would be more of a Venezuela situation, that maybe we could get rid of the top tier guys. The second tier guys would say, okay, great, we'll change we're going to give up the nukes, but we're going to have a better economy. We'll be a normalized nation. But that's not happened. So what it has done, though, I mean, no wars happen the way you think they're going to happen because the other guy gets a vote. But what's happened now is it's given the president and the United States the opportunity to emerge from this, and we will emerge from it victorious. There's just no question. Question is the only matter of time. Is what happens next, and we will emerge from this with expanded Abraham Accords, with an entire Middle East alliance that is aimed against Iran or against this version of Iran. And at the same time, we are going to end up at the end of this with the United States controlling the world's energy supply. Well, everybody's focused on Iran and Bibi's war. Have you noticed the numbers on American oil exports?
Yes.
Have gone up 30%.
Yes.
We now are the world's largest crude oil exporter, refined oil exporter, liquefied natural gas exporter. And it's not by like 2%, 7%. It's like 20, 30%. We own the world energy supply. Yep. And why does that matter? For the same reason you and Bruce Blakeman were talking about artificial intelligence and quantum computing. You need energy to be the leader in that business, and we have the energy.
I think you're right. I think all those things are going to happen. You know, my fear all along, or concern, maybe fear is a bit strong, my concern was that the American public, even Republicans, aren't aware of all this, and it's going to cost us come November. And I'd be lying to you if I said to you, I still don't have those concerns, because I do.
I have those concerns, too. And where I would fault the administration is they never made the case. And they should have made the case. It's not just the nukes, it's the whole ideology. And I really wish the president had used his opportunity last night to make the case. You know, I worked for President Reagan and wrote a lot of President Reagan's defense-related speeches, and he always made the case. His feeling was that you took it to the American people and then convinced the American people to see things the way you did. And that was so effective because even in times of economic, hardship in the first several years of the Reagan administration, he had the support of the American people to take down the Soviet Union because he made the case time and time again. And I just wish President Trump and his team would make the case. Americans understand it. We're smart people. But if you don't make the case, then, you're not sort of bringing people in democracy along for the time when things are hard for them. They don't understand. Why should I sacrifice? What's this for? Why do I have to pay all this money for my gasoline every week? What's it for? Make the case, and I think the American people get it.
It's hard for me to say this because you know how much I love you. I mean that. You know that. And how great I think you are. But this may have been your best performance ever right now, just now. That's how great you were this morning, and I agreed with everything you said. Everything you said was right on the money. K.T. McFarland, as always, amazing job. Enjoy the Hamptons this weekend. We'll do it again next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless you. K.T. McFarland right there on Sid Friends in the morning. I know I made her a little uncomfortable with the J.D. Vance stuff. She doesn't like to critique anybody in the Trump administration, clearly. But I thought she was fair, and she did a very good job of pointing out the things that we are doing very, very well, and she even had a critique for the administration. Great job, KT. We'll take a short break. Lots more to do. George Santos is stopping by. A lot of you are going to be pissed. I love it. That's why I invite him, just to piss you off. George Santos coming in the 9 o'clock hour.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Andrew Giuliani, let me start with congratulations. What a kick-ass tournament you have put on around this whole country. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sid. I appreciate it. Look, if I can get you to watch soccer, then I know we've done our job over here. Because you, along with about 3 billion other people, are going to be watching this final.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I think you and I think we've got a bet lined up. I can't bet in this job over here, but you and I have a pre-existing relationship, what White House counsel call a pre-existing relationship. And look, you're Italian. I mean, you basically are Italian. You're Jewish. I'm Italian. We got the same 3 ideals: food, family, and guilt. So let's bet a little food. We're going to bet, how about Katz's Diner you put up right there? I'll put up Mama's in Queens over here.
Perfect.
I got Argentina. You got Spain over there. Let's do another one. I think Messi gets on the score sheet as well. How about that? A little double bet.
I can't do it. I'll tell you why.
Why not?
Because even though I am convinced, and at this point I know just as much soccer as you and Kilmeade combined, even though I'm convinced that Spain is going to win, I can't root for them. I can't do it.
I hear you. Well, I mean, you could still, root for them and buy me a nice, beautiful pastrami sandwich the next time you and I go to Katz's Diner.
I will tell you
What's wrong with that over there?
Nothing.
Making the big bucks at WABC for a lowly government servant like myself? Come on. I am gonna get a hot dog with it too, and I always get a Knish. I'm just letting you know it's gonna be an expensive trip to Katz.
I don't care.
We're gonna have a good time.
I want to do it anyway, no matter who wins on Sunday. And on a serious note, I become this maniac. People say don't ever mix politics and sports. And I've done it to the point where I can no longer root for the Mets because Mamdani's too close to the Mets. And now I can't root for Spain because they didn't allow us to refuel our jets in the Iran conflict. Plus, they're anti-Semites. Argentina loves the Jewish people. They drape Israeli flags to piss off the Egyptian coach. So I now take politics, and I make it a part of all my sporting events. So clearly, I have a lot of reasons to root for Argentina and against Spain. No?
Well, I'll tell you what. They've asked me in this job who are you, and if it's not the U.S. national team, it's even diplomatic. Who are you rooting for? Iran versus New Zealand. Guys, who the hell do you think I'm rooting for? Iran versus New Zealand. Come on. Who do you think? Just take a guess. You waste your breath over here on this stuff.
That's funny.
But I will say, I think when you're thinking about government taxpayer dollars, we lent about $20 billion. Secretary Bissett out of the U.S. Treasury lent about $20 billion to Argentina. I would imagine with spending going up, I think things would be better if Argentina wins. I think it's better for the United States of America being repaid if Argentina, in fact, wins this World Cup. I think that's diplomatic enough to say, I don't know, maybe I'll get a call from the State Department before the president slapping my hand. What else is new? I go on with Sid. I get my hand slapped. Beautiful.
No, I think you made a very good political argument. I will say this, talking about not only am I watching the event, and I mean this, I'm into it. I'm really into it. I'm enjoying every second of it. I have a completely different outlook on the game now, but forget about I think I saw this morning 6.26 million have watched these events. Is that right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable when you actually look at it. That number is actually, from what I'm told from FIFA Conservative, they told me that 2.7 billion people alone watched the Argentina Cape Verde match. I'm still waiting to get those numbers in from the semifinals, but think about that. If you're talking about 40% of the world actually tuning in to watch a match a couple of weeks ago, when we talked about this first time, we were thinking about 2 billion people watching the final, Sid. The last final had 1.6 billion. Even that alone is 15 times the size of the Super Bowl. I'm thinking this number is going to be over 3 billion, maybe approaching 3.5 billion people, half the world's population. It's unbelievable. But, Sid, it's more than even just the numbers. Think about this. The storylines have been endless over here, from Messi, Mbappe, all these guys playing great, Holland playing great, to the Scots drinking Boston Dry, probably adding a couple $2 billion in GDP to the New England GDP as well.
Right.
From the Japanese cleaning up the stadiums, the Dutch bus, I love the Knicks, Sid. Didn't get to go to the parade. I wanted to go see that Dutch bus to feel like I was at a parade. To the Norwegians, where were they going to row to in the country next? To Cabo Verde, taking on the Goliaths, taking them to extra time and Messi right there. To the U.S. national team, Sid. And I got to tell you, while this team, they didn't have their best stuff, as we know, in that round of 16 against Belgium, I'll tell you why I love these boys. Because even in their lowest moments, and you and I know we have low moments in life, but what they did was they went around, they thanked the fans, and what did they do? They got in the middle of the pitch, and they prayed together. That shows you the character.
Yes, I agree with all that. I agree with all that. I agree with that, and I like these guys, but you say they have their best stuff that day. The truth is, Belgium kicked our asses by 3 goals just a month before. Clearly, Belgium is a better team. Some people are saying to me, listen, we won some games. We made the Sweet 16. They are lovely guys. But the truth is, we're still just not good enough.
Well, I was speaking to Todd Blanche about this, and we think they spiked their Belgian chocolate with a little something in there. I don't know what it was. Just people are telling me.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. People are telling me. That probably will make news, actually. I don't know how that will make news, but that probably will.
Then how do you explain the 3-goal loss to Belgium the month before?
It's been a long time coming over here. When Barry Bonds did home runs, it was for years. So,
I was not kidding when I repeated what Clay Travis said a couple of days ago. Clay will join me on Monday, and I agree with him. I think Whitlock said the same thing. We should host it, especially if you're going to be in charge, because you've now proven to President Trump beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are the right guy for the job, which we all knew was the case anyway. But, man, did this come off with flying success. Why don't we do it all the time? Is that possible?
I'll say this, right? I mean, I think with FIFA's rules, and they're malleable, let's be honest, but they try to get to every single continent, maybe not, the Arctic, but they try to get to every single continent at some point. Now, what I'll tell you is they've already committed to Spain, your buddies, Portugal, and Morocco, along with one match each in Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina for the 2034. So they're knocking out 3 continents in 2030.
Right.
The Saudis have 2034. And I'm telling you, I have a really good feeling that, at some point in 2038, 2042, they're going to come back to the United States of America. And you could just look at the numbers on this in terms of what they're going to be grossing from this, what they're going to be netting from this thing. It's unbelievable. They're going to make over 5 times off of this World Cup what they made off of the last World Cup. And that's just the power of the U.S. economy right there. I mean, it really, really is amazing. The sellout numbers said for 102 matches, and you're going to have 2 sellouts for the last 2 matches, they are at 99.8% capacity. That's for Cape Verde and Curacao, countries of less than 500,000 people. They've sold out every single stadium, every single time. It's been a bigger success than even I could have ever imagined. When I first spoke to President Trump about this, 18 months ago, we talked about the World Cup being the largest platform that we would have to show off American exceptionals into the rest of the world. We've done it. It's been amazing. We got 2 more incredible days to go. And somebody told me this. This is not my original quote, so don't quote me on this. But they said it's the best public relations the United States had since winning the Second World War.
I agree.
So.
I've heard that on this show as well from guests. No, I'm serious. I know it's kind of funny, but it's true. I know you got 2 minutes to go. My daughter Ava has her girlfriend, and she lives in the UK. She's been here for 9 days. They went and watched the England victory over, who did they beat? Norway. And then when they lost, of course, to Argentina. And she came home in a very, very bad mood. She's flying home tomorrow. She lands an hour at Heathrow before England takes on France. And even though it's a consolation game, she said that her and her country members are very excited to see this one. So while Sunday is the big one between Spain and Argentina, I can tell you that the French and the English, they're looking forward to tomorrow.
Well, hey, look, what the English must do. I mean, they must put up the name for the channel, right? I mean, I don't know what the French are going to put up there, but they got to put up the name for the channel. Whoever wins this 3rd place match. Otherwise, it's a 3rd place match, right? I mean, what are we going to be, watching for? I guess maybe something for Calais. We can go and think of, that, fateful day on June 6, 1944.
Right.
But, no, it really, really will be amazing to see these guys play tomorrow. Look, I know for us in the U.S., a 3rd place match. Yeah, well, we can do something else. But really, it will be. I think you're going to see, over 1.5 billion people watching the match alone tomorrow. When you're talking about, 2 of the great teams, we actually got the 4 highest ranked teams to get to the semifinals. It was absolutely amazing. If we couldn't have the United States, you can argue maybe Brazil in the semifinals as well. We got the 4 teams that you would want, at least from a playing competitive standpoint.
Agreed. Am I going to see you tomorrow?
Absolutely, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Me too.
My friend.
I can't wait too. I can't wait.
Absolutely.
Listen, give the president my best. We'll see him tomorrow too, I imagine. And just really, congratulations. I wasn't all that excited coming in, but I leave this tournament. I'm a fan. And I just think you did a spectacular job. I'm not surprised, but now that it's over, you should take a bow, Andrew Giuliani. Great work, pal. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sid. The world, America fell in love with the World Cup, and the world fell in love with America again.
I
love that. Oh, my God, that's a great quote. I may put that at the top of my show for the next couple of weeks. Andrew, I'll see you tomorrow. Great job. I love you. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Sid.
Take care. He really did an amazing job. There was a huge responsibility. You know, you got to set up all these venues, go to all these cities. He was sitting down with all the terrorist experts day after day to make sure there were no security issues. It was a monster responsibility. And Trump showed a lot of confidence in Andrew. I knew he was the right guy for the job, but when you pull it off as well as he did, and he did, that's a big deal. Let's take a break. Go from one great Italian. Sorry, Mamdani. Sid loves the Italians, bitch. We go from one great Italian to another. Andrew Giuliani.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Best defense attorney anywhere in the world, and just the most loyal, beautiful guy, and an Army guy. You know, in fact, Joseph, I got a text, I don't know, about 15 minutes ago from our friend, our mutual friend, Mr. Peerless Boilers, the great Pete Morgan, another great American. And he said, Sid, make sure you ask Joseph about this amazing Army charity that he's involved with. I said, Pete, don't worry. Joe and I have had that conversation. I'm going to actually donate today. But while Pete brought it up and I brought it up, let's get right to it. Extortion 17. What an amazing job with this. Amazing. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, you said perfectly. I mean, Extortion 17 is the call sign of a Chinook helicopter, Army helicopter that was unfortunately tragically shot down by Taliban fighters in Afghanistan in 2011. And you know what I'm doing here, Sid, it's this event, a fundraiser and a ruck march that isn't about reliving this tragedy. It's about remembering the extraordinary Americans whose names deserve to be spoken 15 years later. So basically on the night of August 6, 2011, a Chinook helicopter, which is the Army's biggest, most, transporting helicopter with the call sign Extortion 17, lifted off to reinforce Rangers, Army Rangers, where I hail, and engaged with the enemy in Afghanistan. Minutes later, it was struck by a Taliban RPG, killing all 38 people on board, including a dog, and 30 Americans, 8, Afghan fighters who were partnering with us. And today, Sid, to this day, remains the single deadliest loss of American lives in one instant during the Afghan war. So, to me, why should we care 15 years later? Because I've been saying this, and when I heard about this charity, I was in Wiesbaden, Germany, and with our Army base there, our headquarters, and I just, freedom has a price, and these men paid for that price in full. And they were sons, fathers, husbands, teammates, friends. They volunteered to run towards danger so others could come home. These guys, and when I look at people that have anything negative to say about members of our military, it makes me sick, because they literally put their lives on the line so we could sleep well at night and enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy in this country and say what we want to be able to say and do what we want to be able to do. And it's just daunting to me that level of sacrifice exists. So, as a former Ranger, I know what it means to carry a weight. So what I have to do for this thing is carry a ruck, a 30-pound ruck for 31 miles honoring the soldiers that were killed, American soldiers that were killed in this tragedy. And, the ruck is basically, in the 31 miles, is obviously indicating the number of people lost, and, of course, Bart the dog, the military dog. So it's it's something I'm so proud to be doing, Sid. It's this fundraising effort that is, so along with the ruck that I have to do, there's a fundraising component to it. And it's just, it's for the families of these fallen soldiers. And, every dollar raised tells these Gold Star families that America still remembers their loved ones. And that's really what matters to me.
And where can 31 miles is longer than a marathon. That's not an easy job. Danielle's training for the New York Marathon. Again, it'll be her 6th or 41st marathon overall. This is 5 miles longer than a marathon, and you're carrying a 30-pound weight. But I did see you on Tuesday night. You and I had dinner together, and it looks like it's not going to be a problem for you. You're like a walking piece of muscle. But how can people help who want to help donate today?
There's, look, I sent you a link that's basically a link to this charity. And basically, it's there's something called runsignup.com. So it's the Extortion 17 Memorial Run Ruck. So you could either run or you could ruck with a weight. So it's just basically, if you go to runsignup.com, there's many obviously charities on there, but the Extortion 17 Memorial Run, which goes from August 6th to August 31st, by the way, let me be very clear, I'm not doing 31 miles with a 30-pound rucksack in one day. I would die. I mean, even Rangers. When I was a Ranger, we did 20-mile rucks.
Gotcha.
It's over a period of 10 days. So it's going to be, you can do it all in one day if you want to die, or you can do 3.1 miles a day for 10 days. That's the route I'm taking, my brother.
That's good. That's good enough.
But it's an amazing charity. I don't often get involved in this stuff because, I don't know what's real, but this is the Travis Manion Foundation, and Travis Manion Foundation is really one of the most important fundraising organizations, especially for the special warfare community. So it helps empower these veterans and these families and families that have fallen, to develop character in future generations.
Yeah.
So it's so important to me, Sid. I've said this donation because I don't care if anyone donates $1 or I've had some. Pete Morgan made a pretty big donation. So I don't care what the amount is. It's just a principle for me. And so far we're the top fundraisers. So it's really important to me.
Well, now you're going to be the top fundraiser. I got 1 million people listening right here, Joseph.
I don't even know if when they sign up, they probably won't even connect with me from the foundation point of view. I don't care.
Okay.
I just don't care.
Gotcha.
This is something that's so important to me. I wore that Ranger scroll decades and decades ago, but once you're part of that brotherhood, you never stop being connected to those who serve.
Yeah, sure.
And I didn't know anyone on board of Extortion 17, but I know the kind of men they were, and that's why this matters. It's about honoring warriors who answered the call, supporting their families they left behind, and making sure America never forgets their sacrifice.
Love it.
Because these men gave their tomorrows so the rest of us could have ours, Sid, and that's the least we could do to remember them.
Can't argue. Do you do any of the runs or walks every year for Tunnel to Towers?
I haven't. I would love to.
I got to set that up. I got to set you up with Frank Stiller. Okay. You're perfect for that. I'm serious. Be great.
No, absolutely. I'll do whatever I can do. That to me is honor and duty. It's not even pleasure. It's not like, that's cool.
How are you going to feel? How are you going to feel on that day when we commemorate 25 years this September 11th when you see Mamdani sitting next to Rudy Giuliani?
Oh, it's really, really tough. It's really tough. I mean, knowing what he has said in the past, knowing what his supporters have said about 9/11 and the American people, knowing what his wife has posted, and then having to sit there with that stupid smile, that smug smile, understanding. In my heart of hearts, this is my opinion, Sid, and I know you, John, make sure you always play that disclaimer before I come on the air. The views and the opinions of our guests don't reflect it. I know that's only for me. I'm about to say it. My opinion is that he could care less about America and the commemorative events of 9/11. That he is, honestly, I call him a jihadist. And based on his past statements and his associations, he is. So I don't think it's going to make me sad because I lost family members in 9/11. We both lost great friends, you and I, and we know who they are. And I lost family members, and I went to more damn funerals, and I saw that second plane hit the towers. And I was on the West Side Highway, heading to court in Brooklyn, federal court in Brooklyn, and I saw that the smoke from the first tower, and then I saw the second plane go in. As I didn't know what it was. At first, I thought it was like a movie set. And then I'm thinking, oh my God, maybe there was a pilot who couldn't see the towers because of the smoke. And then when I realized what had happened, it's just like, it's a day, obviously, this is going to be a shocker. It's a day I can never, ever forget. No. I can never forget. And it's a significant day coming up. And again, I know a lot of special forces guys and the military guys will make this day is they're looking forward to this for many years.
Yeah, me too.
It's really commemorative. It's so important.
It's not just one day. By the way, people are still dying 25 years later, but we'll get to that 9/11 conversation later because we got so much more to get to. I know your buddy, all my attorney friends are friends with this guy, Todd Blanche. Been going through the whole Senate confirmation this week. Trump loves him. He, he was supposed to be the interim for Pam Bondi, and you heard names like Lee Zeldin and even my friend Harmeet Dillon, Janine Pirro. But I knew once Todd took that interim position, he was never leaving.
And I think he's the right guy for the job, and I know you love him. How do you think he did this week?
I thought he did great. I mean, look, those are far. We're in a different world now. Everything is so damn partisan and so nasty. Confirmation hearings used to have a little more civility to them. Now it's like, it's about politics much more than it's about accomplishments. I'm not commenting on Todd Blanche from a distance. Todd's a close friend of mine. Okay, I spoke to him after that confirmation hearing. I served alongside of him as co-counsel representing President Trump. I watched him work firsthand under pressure, unlike anything most lawyers will ever experience. We've experienced, and I know his character, his judgment, his intellect, his integrity. That's an exceptionally qualified individual for Attorney General's office. And if you saw how he handled some pretty nasty questions yesterday, he didn't do a Pam Bondi. He didn't start saying, "Yeah, you're a pedophile. You're this," and like lose her cool and go back at them with snide remarks or refusing to answer questions, but attacking others. Todd just sit there, took it. You didn't see him raise his voice, lower his voice.
He never lost his cool.
He never lost his cool.
No.
And that's exactly the lawyer we.
He's either a really brilliant guy or he's a psycho. One of the two.
And sometimes
both.
Combination is what makes us great lawyers. I mean, I think you just defined me, and I'm not, but that's exactly the kind of lawyer we want leading the Justice Department.
100%.
He's highly accomplished as a lawyer. Yeah. He understands both sides of the system, and I love him. But again, we need his temperament right now. Right now, with all that's going on, you need it much more than legal brilliance to be Attorney General. It requires temperament. And Todd's calm, as you saw, when others become emotional. He's deliberate when others become reactive. And he listens and he studies. And I have so much respect for the guy. And, it's a lot for me to say this. I don't have a great deal of respect for a lot of people in my industry, but he is certainly one of them. He's certainly one of them. And he should be... hopefully this doesn't become political. Again, I just hope it doesn't become political, because if it doesn't become political, this should be a very easy confirmation.
He's getting it. So. He's getting it. He's getting it. It'll be no problem. But you're right. He did a tremendous job. Tuesday night we had our monthly men's dinner. Keith Kantrowitz and all the guys, Mark Oranger and Mike Kemper and Al Volpe and Elbstein. We love Andrew Elbstein and Big Chris and a whole bunch of really cool folks. And my dear friend Anthony Carone came by, and I have spoken to Anthony a bunch of times since he had the issue with his brother. I was in Israel. I actually started to cry. And I spoke to him as soon as I got home, and he was kind enough to call me right back. And we've spoken 2 or 3 times, actually, but had a chance to see Anthony Tuesday night, and I was so happy you were there, too. So you are familiar with the case against two dear friends. Now, look, I'm biased. I am biased because I love both guys. I'm not an attorney. That's why you're about to speak on it. But from what I know, this is not a very good case against my friends Frank and Anthony Carone. But again, you're the lawyer, Joseph. You tell me.
It is not a strong case at all. It's one of these cases that, was brought years after they started this investigation. It's a case that they bring to put pressure on one of them to flip on the other one. And I'm not talking about the 2 brothers. I'm talking about the other defendants as well. I know the evidence against the Carones. First of all, Frank has been a friend of mine since I was a prosecutor, 100 years ago. And Anthony, I've known of Anthony and spent some time with him Tuesday night with you. What a great guy. A very impressive individual. Really. Yes. I mean, and I got to tell you, you don't see a lot of men like that anymore who stand up and are ready to fight. He walked into that restaurant, Sid, with a smile on his face. Yeah. And I actually commented to him. I said, I got to be honest with you. I got to give you some credit because most people who are under indictment for, serious federal charges, facing serious time, are sort of change their demeanor. They cower. They become reclusive until this is all done.
And let me tell you something. That's him. He wasn't being phony. He did say to me, he said to me, because he's been smiling the whole time, he said, Sid, the worst part is over. He had a worry that every day someone would come knocking on his door. Now they knocked on his door. Okay, great. Now we'll fight you because the evidence will prove we were okay. He said, to be honest, I'm past the worst part. How about that?
Yeah. Look, that's right. The worst day is that day. And believe me, when they wake up at 5 in the morning, and that was another thing, just comes to show you the nastiness, because Frank and Anthony Carone and their lawyers who I've spoken to and know have spoken with the decision to go charge them, just let us know. We'll surrender, right? But it's crazy that they had to go make a spectacle. 15 FBI agents at 5 a.m. to go take out Anthony Carone out of us. Are you kidding me? I mean, we didn't need that. And so I think they're going to have a real strong defense in this case. I know the defense. I know Anthony's definitely going to trial, and he wants to go to trial. And, they're going to argue, I'm sure, amongst other things, that prosecutors are drawing inference from circumstantial evidence. And literally the evidence against Anthony Carone was presented to them by his attorneys in what they call, either attorney proffers or these meetings to try and show innocence. And they took that somehow, turned it around. And honestly, it's shocking. If that's the evidence in this case, and you're going to have to explain to a jury why his lawyers presented that to you to show you what was the truth, and then you turn that around to make that the only evidence in this case. And now I think they're going to try and remove Anthony's lawyers as a conflict. It's crazy. It's crazy, but I feel so confident for these guys. I really do. For Frank and Anthony, I don't know the other guys, but Anthony Carone is an impressive man, and I got to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, but the evidence against him is a joke. Yeah, I think that some people think that Frank is it's a little more serious. I don't know. I have no idea because I love them both, but I think the conventional wisdom is that the evidence against Frank is a little more serious, but I still haven't heard from anybody exactly what that is either, because they are kind of two different cases.
I don't know, Sid. I don't think so. I mean, look, Frank is the guy in the middle of it, right? He was Adams' guy. He was the right hand to Adams, who obviously there's a lot of corruption according to the federal prosecutors in that. Well, there was. I mean, we know that. Bo Dietl will come on and just get him started, ask him a question about that, and he'll go off, right? But again, here would be their theory. Frank Carone set up this lucrative $6.8 million contract for some guy, and he got $120,000.
Come on,
for that. I mean, Frank Carone can make $120,000 in a month.
In his sleep.
I mean,
in his sleep.
So, and then, by the way, it was $10,000 a month. Like, that's what he got for setting up one of the most lucrative contracts in this, in this whole migrant hotel campaign. I mean,
ridiculous.
It's a silly argument. I don't believe for a second that's going to prove out in court, but we'll see. I mean, I think it's a very interesting case, and I'm confident that these guys are going to be okay, though.
I agree, and I'm sure they're glad to hear that coming from you, because you have won for just about everybody. Your record is comparable to Sandy Koufax in the major league. So if Joe Tacopina says you're okay, I think you're going to be okay. And you did look great on Tuesday night. You look like $1 million. So, and hopefully you'll start coming to this dinner every month.
That was fun. That was really fun. Some good guys there.
Yeah.
It was really an interesting crew. Al Volpe. I mean, he was a character, and a lot of these people. And you left actually to go somewhere else, and I spent some time.
I went home.
Guys. I was trying to leave, and you went home, and I spent some time with these guys who were, who were leaving, and they, one-on-one, they grabbed me to talk about this or that, or something
good.
We knew, and some great guys there.
How much longer did you stay after we left?
Yes, a little longer than I wanted to, because I had to drive up to Connecticut. So, but about a half hour more.
Oh wow, good. All right,
yeah.
All right. Al Volpe owned the China Club, Joseph. You love that place, no?
Yes, in the day.
In the day. We all had our day. Joe, you're amazing. You really are. One more time, go back to where we started this great conversation. Extortion 17. How can people help today?
Yeah, Extortion 17. They basically could go to a website. This is what I know anyway, how to do this. But they could go to something called. Hold on. So now I got to get it again. It's runsignup.com. Runsignup.com. Yep. Run the word runsignup.com. That's one word. That's where my donations go. All my donors. But the Extortion 17 Memorial Ruck Run. And yeah, it's if they put my name in there, obviously they'll know it came from this endorsement. But I don't care about that. I don't care about getting the credit for it. I just want this organization and these families to know we've never forgotten them, that we will support them. This is something so near and dear to me. As my son gets ready to go into there, this is really, we have to just remember how important what these people do are. There's really no one like the military, United States military, and the sacrifices they make for all of us, that we take for granted, and we just do, because it's not bad that we take for granted. It's just like, we live our normal lives every day. We go here, we go there. Oh, the World Cup final Sunday, great. We do that, and we have the ability to do that because of these great soldiers. men, women, whatever, even bark the dog, sacrifice his life, right? Because they give theirs and to protect our freedom. And it's just something that, it's not cliche. It's real. And when you think about it like that, it's daunting to me. It really is daunting. It gets me a little emotional. So I would do anything to help these guys.
You're beautiful inside and out, Joseph Tacopina. Great job today, as always. It's an amazing segment every Friday. Thank you so much. I love you, pal.
Love you too, brother.
See ya. Joseph Tacopina right there. Great, the best defense attorney in the world, and we are lucky to have him every Friday on this radio show. We'll take a break. We still have more to do.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Ice Cube loves me. Comes on this show, talks about the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Did he come on this year? Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did. No, yeah, he did. Monday, we got a huge show for you. President Trump and Bibi on Monday. Trump at 8:30, Bibi at 9:30. That's pretty good, right? No?
That's huge. I didn't know that.
That's because I lied.
Oh. Neither of them are on?
Neither one.
I just had Bibi on Monday. Take it easy. I'm going to see Trump tomorrow. I had Bibi on Monday. Marco Rubio texted me Tuesday. It's not like it's all that far-fetched.
That's why it seemed believable.
Right.
But why would you lie about something?
Because I'm a liar.
That's really the explanation.
Shut up, Lou.
That's it.
You lied too.
I knew you were lying the second that you mentioned the two names.
Wow, I fell for it totally.
Yeah, well, you're not that bright.
No.
Lou, you never lie?
Yeah, I lie a lot.
Do you lie? You think you lie daily? I'm being serious. And there could be like a little lie.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's close to daily.
Daily, okay. Would you say multiple times a day?
Look, I love you, and I...
See, he's lying.
There you go.
Noam, do you lie?
Of course, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, but, there's situations where you have to lie, so I do.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think it's safer to lie than to hurt somebody.
Of course.
Well, if you start having this Alzheimer's thing, I'm going to lie a lot more.
Now you can say just about whatever you want. I'll forget the next 2 minutes.
Right.
My life is becoming like 51st Dates with Adam Sandler. Hey, nice to meet you, Tom.
Oh, my God, no.
That is the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
Please.
That won't be great in real life.
No. 10 second, was it 10 second Bob or 10 second Tom?
Oh, no.
Every 10 seconds, you had to reintroduce yourself. No, that's a rough movie. Drew Barrymore was so cute in that movie. I can't believe there were times when I actually wanted to bang Drew Barrymore. And that's not the case. Not the case anymore. But in that movie, I thought she was really cute.
Oh, she's really cute.
In that movie.
Yeah.
And also in the movie she made with, what's his name? He's kind of funny. He dances with Timberlake. Fallon. What are you, the Boston Red Sox fan? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the fan.
He's the fan, and he takes her to Fenway Park, and she's kind of cute in that. But now I see her do a talk show, and she's starting to look like Eric Stoltz in The Mask.
That's just wrong.
Oh, no. Wow.
I got to tell you, I'm killing myself today. Yeah. I really am. I got to send my own tapes, the best of me.
You're going to rue that day when you get the Alzheimer's because you won't be able to remember your great funny joke.
Well,
it'd be great.
You can play it over and over again.
I can say, actually, I really was funny. Listen to me.
I'll hear the same joke.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My buddy Joe Stanzione was just at this place. He lives in Jersey. The name of this place, I think I got the pronunciation correct, but I'm not sure. Taliercios or Taliercios. You know the place, Tanya? You're shaking your head. Yes, I know you live in New Jersey. I guess it's a big, big deal in Middletown, New Jersey. You may know it too, Noam, but you're in Jersey City. Big deal, Middletown and Route 35 there, Red Bank, that area. And they have these sandwiches, and they name these sandwiches after, local talent. People like Craig Carton, for example, has a sandwich there. He lives in New Jersey. Anyway, long story short, I guess the owners, Mike and Eric, are Sid fans. Well, of course they are. And they want to make a sandwich, the Sid. Well, how about that, Noam?
What are they going to put on this sandwich?
Got to be ham. Who's a bigger ham than me?
Or tongue.
That was too easy.
Tongue. You can go with tongue, yeah. That makes sense. I do talk with my mouth. I've got a tongue in my mouth. Sometimes it's yours. We'll have to figure that out, but I hope I pronounce it correctly. But it's a big deal in Middletown, Tallier Circos or something like that. I forget. And one more, my buddy Charlie Marino. He's got a big thing at Legend Sports Bar, which is at 935 Hempstead Turnpike. It's his place. Charlie, of course, is the pride of Howard Beach. We all love Charlie Marino. And he's got a big freestyle dance party coming up later on tonight. He's got drinks and beers and a lot of free stuff as well. Go on in there and tell him you know Sid, and they'll take good care of you. Legends Sports Bar on the island. We're done. Lou Rufino, as always, fantastic job. Justin Ellick, amazing. You too, Noam Layden, nobody better. John, Tarrant, have a nice weekend. And you too, Tanya. As Gene would say, for all of us here on Sid and Friends in the morning, what is that word he says? Inshallah, God willing. We'll all be back on Monday morning at 6 for a Monday show. And don't you worry, Joe Nolan, I didn't forget you, because Lou just said your name in my ear. Have a great weekend, everybody. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?